is you interlock the two.
Now stretch them right as...
Soccer. And the...
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
I felt like a reptile. Like a reptile. I felt like a reptile.
Oh, that'll work. There we go. There we go.
Nice.
Is it going to work?
Yes.
I'm excited. Oh, look at that. That's
kind of vibrant, isn't it?
Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Trippy.
Why not?
In the corner with his DMT pen.
There you go. He's only been back for a bit.
Right. Are we good? We're recording, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, this is the guy This is the guy. It's like musical chairs,
yeah.
Isn't it? You stop every time the screen goes
Freeze.
up. There we go. Yeah, this was the guy I was talking about. Warp Art Studio.
Okay.
Tris.
Warhammer dude.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had a box of Warhammer stuff, and a lot of it I'd kind of half painted or I'd like base coated and then like stripped the paint off again.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was never very good at painting them. There's literally one here, which right behind my Razor Crest. I've just left that in the shot. That's probably the best one I've ever painted, and it's shit by comparison.
No, but you even had that the floor, the we couldn't get the dust.
Look at his.
Oh, dude!
Like his are amazing.
You know what he's doing? He's dry brushing. That's a technique.
Is that what it is? Look at that. That's badass, right,
dude?
So anyway, we were chatting back and forth, and I said to him, "I've got a bunch of Space Wolves. I got some Terminators. I've got the old Dreadnought, like the metal,
the big one.
You know what I mean? Like
where you have to glue the arms on.
Yeah, you could like club somebody with it if you fell out with them at the game table. I only ever played twice, I think.
Yeah, I didn't play a lot.
I just like the figures.
I like painting.
Yeah.
I can remember getting kicked out of Games Workshop in Derby because someone took in...
Robbing, thieving.
No, it wasn't that time. And to be fair, I never robbed from Games Workshop. All the other shops,
you always paid for games.
Yeah, all the other shops I robbed from.
You robbed from everywhere else to pay for your Games Workshop.
There's no more Woolworths now, is there?
Is it? No, there's not.
You're welcome.
We'll see. Now you put them out of business.
Partners.
Chase them off to Holland.
Partners where you used to get your stationery.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
There was a shop in Nottingham called Situals that was one of my mum's favourites.
Yeah, similar one.
And I always remember that because it was like they had like this nice grand staircase, and as you walked up it, they had all these boxes on the side of the staircase with just like shit that you don't need that's still sitting in drawers that would probably actually look quite good on this set. You know, like those things that had the sucker on the bottom with the spring. Is that what they were called?
Oh no, the sucker with the spring was like a ladybird.
Put them down, then at some point it was just going to pop randomly.
Yeah. Or a fuzzy thing with eyes and like a little ribbon off it that said Chatsworth House. Definitely need one of them with these little feet.
Of course. The amount of shit I would buy on school trips as well. Like rubbers and rulers. And like I've got a rubber, an eraser.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
It was definitely a rubber. Worldwide.
A rubber with like York Minster
Viking
on
Centre.
it. Yeah, York Minster on it. Or I'm not.
But it was only the rubbers that I could put my fingernail in. You know, them weird,
Squishy
really
ones.
soft rubber.
Yeah, there's one
like you
floating
could.
around here somewhere.
You'd piggle it. So you'd like
piggle it.
Dig your nail into it. If they're over them like really vibrant fluorescent rubbers that look plastic, you'd have drawn something and then tried to rub it and either rip the page or just shoved the pencil. Like,
they just smudge everything.
Horrible. Yeah, the worst.
You've got to have like the putty rubbers. They're the ones. Anyway, do you like my Razor Crest?
I do like your Razor Crest. I'm quite jealous. I've got to be honest.
I've got a few things. That chair's creaking like a motherfucker. Is that picking up?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Okay, well I'll sit very still.
We need to maybe even switch chairs out. Shall we do that?
Do you want me to do that instead?
I don't know whether it's going to be any better. Mine creaks quite a bit as well.
I think I'm too light for it to creak.
You're definitely too. The chair doesn't even know it's being sat in with you, mister. That's what. Your nickname is Slim after all. Although we don't call him that as much. Hair's not as blonde now, is it?
No, it's...
Nice.
I still call him Slim, and I was calling him Slim for a whole afternoon, and Veronica was like, "Who the fuck is Slim?" I was like, "It's not just me."
Let's see how that chair is. Now you ain't got your comfortable cushion. Do you need a cushion?
For fuck's sake.
Oh, Jesus. Nice hat, by the way, that you can't buy on the website.
You can't buy.
Like,
I have paired it with burgundy, but...
That's true. You colour coordinated.
Yeah.
I did consider as I was in my wardrobe, I'm looking at my options and I'm like, I should probably wear something that we sell. And I'm like, no, Owen's wearing a custom one-off hat, so I'm like, I'm gonna wear a custom.
No, you can buy that one.
See how he did that to me?
Yeah, that's why I sent it you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
See, he knows how to play the game here. He keeps all the custom stuff for himself.
Well, Ollie did it. Ollie outdid me at the ride along. He's got a flipping baseball trucker on. He's got his camo hoodie on.
Yeah. He wore everything unofficial.
Yeah, but I bought spares to change into to actually have stuff that people would go,
Yeah,
quite like that.
We're gonna have to set up like an eBay account where we just put like random one-offs on it.
Oh mate, I've got so many. Honestly,
Right?
Yeah.
Like all the prototype stuff,
all the originals.
Like that desert camo baseball cap I've got that I love wearing,
Yes.
but it always looks weird on my head.
Yeah, I know.
I look like a peanut for some reason when I'm wearing a flat peak baseball
It is.
cap.
It's strange.
I go from being a human to being a peanut.
Stace hates seeing him in this. She says you look like an idiot. It's a bit like the Conor McGregor. You know the Conor McGregor Faber argument.
Just to get you.
Just builds me up.
Just to build you up.
She's just like, why are you trying to be young?
She manages you. See,
She
she's
does
like, you
manage
can't
me.
go out with a matching
No.
hat and sweatshirt.
No.
I've got to balance him out a little bit.
She just knocks the edge off. That's
That's
all
it.
it is. She just
Yeah.
brings me down a peg. But she'll look at me like, why are you trying to be young? You look like a skateboarder, but like a 15-year-old skateboarder. I'm like, no, I don't. And then I look in the mirror for a good couple of hours like that dog off of, Big Mouth.
Oh, mate. Fat. That fucking makes me laugh every time.
Honestly,
I
that's
think about
me.
it.
That's me with my caps.
That show, I like every day when I go on. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Every day when I go on Netflix.
Yeah.
Although I probably go on Netflix every day.
It is life now.
It is kind of.
Yeah.
It's the amount of stuff you get through a few specific channels. Disney Plus. I'm on
Mate,
Disney
I think we
Plus.
should have clapped.
Mandalorian. See how I circled that back around?
There you go.
See how that?
We should have clapped for Netflix. Was it a Tuesday that you used to clap for NHS? I think Netflix definitely deserved a clap on a
Do
Wednesday.
Netflix appreciation clap. Like, thank you.
Amazon Prime
I tell you
Thursday.
what. I tell you what. The next day that they release the new season of Big Mouth,
Yeah.
we'll do a Netflix appreciation clap. We'll get
just
it
clap.
going on the podcast.
We'll just clap.
Everyone goes stand outside their door and ring bells.
Yeah. Fair
It's
play.
like, oh, is this for the NHS? No.
No.
New season of Big Mouth. Just been
Have
released.
you not seen the Hormone Monsters back?
I like this kid. I think he might be his own hormone monster.
There you go.
Fucking brilliant.
So
do
yeah,
the voice.
so this is my custom
Yeah, I like
burgundy.
it. I like it.
There's a few more colours that they've released, and I like to have something no one else has got.
Is that right?
And when we did Black Flag, we've got this in, I think we've got it in grey and we've got it in black.
Yeah.
Red and black.
People are going to dig that one.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Are we're gonna do them then?
I can do.
I think we should. I
And
think we
if
should.
enough people say do one, please.
Do one.
Not fuck off.
A lot of people will
Yeah,
say do one.
They will. They
Yeah.
will say that to me.
Especially when you're like a 15-year-old skateboarder.
Yeah, I've not got my
Although
flip
I don't
flops
think
on.
you do. I don't think you
No,
do.
I have had a trim.
I think you're a seasoned gentleman with a resistance to accepting, the trends of the elderly.
I've got Peter Pan. haven't
Like
I?
exactly.
I've got Peter Pan. That's
Well, this-
what's in there. I'm fucked.
That's what. Here we go. It's Peter Pan.
I always think. I think like we'll see pictures because me and Stacey went to a different school, and we'll be walking through town or something, and she'll go, I used to go to school with him, and he looks like 75, and I
Right.
think, well, fucking
Yeah.
hell, your pool was small. Do you know what I mean? Like, who are you choosing from? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I always feel young. Obviously, now I'm 40. I have to constantly tell people that I'm 40. That's just a thing that happens as you get older. I mean, pensioners seem to just keep saying their age, but
Yeah. Well, it's been a whole 2 weeks since you turned 40 now, hasn't it?
yeah. And I got all
10
my
days or
toys.
so.
Got my toys for my birthday.
Well, this is it, right?
So
You're
that's-
40.
that
So
shows.
okay. So let's. What did you get for your 40th? What toys?
So
Well, just what generally? I don't want to sway you in the direction
so
of
much cool
toys, but I
shit.
know you got more toys than anything else.
yeah, I got a load of Lego. I've got the Stranger Things. That was an amazing set. I've not started that yet. I've got the Nintendo NES set again. Still not started
That's
that,
gonna
but
be good.
that you knew about that I didn't, which was cool. Stacey got me a PlayStation 5, which was like, yeah. So thanks to her and my brother-in-law orchestrated. I had no idea.
You need a little camera on here for Raptor reactions.
Yeah.
Like,
When can I come round? That's like a dinner date. It's like,
Yeah.
can I come round on Thursday? Can we come and play? But I got that, and honestly, that just blew my mind. And then, but she got me some cool stuff as well. She got me a.
have you played it? Have you set it up and played
Oh
it
yeah,
yet? What's the difference?
Straight away.
Is it
nothing? It's just faster.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, when you used to get a new phone and you go from a Nokia 402 where you could change the cover to like a flip phone or something.
Yeah.
You'd not really stick with one thing all the time. You'd be Motorola or Nokia or whatever it was at the time. Now, you put your iPhone 9 next to iPhone... Well, there isn't an iPhone 9. You put your iPhone 8 next to iPhone 10 and it just goes, oh, do you want me to copy it? Nothing's different. It's just a bit faster. And I think with the PlayStation 5, there's no flagship game that was launched with it. Whereas back in the day, PlayStation 1, I think, was Ridge Racer. Then you've got Dreamcast had whatever Sonic it was. There's it always had something specific that you could jump on and like feel a difference. So there's a cool game that's on it called Astropad or something like that, which basically shows off the controller because there's like resistance to the triggers. So instead of it just being like a flappy paddle, if you're
the handset's different.
Yeah.
I don't think the PlayStation handset's particularly comfortable. Like I used to like my Xbox one.
It
Like,
just curved more.
Yeah.
But it depends how long your fingers are.
Ergonomic,
Yeah.
I think.
But then
you look back at the Nintendo one, which was literally a little box, wasn't it, on a cable?
Yeah. Oh, mate, it was dog shit. On the NES.
Hours on them. Maybe that's why I've got pain in my wrists these days.
They were horrible. Or a joystick. You remember like on the before consoles, you had a joystick that you had to Daley Thompson speed test.
Yeah.
Snapping joysticks.
Yeah.
Snapping
I
joysticks.
remember.
They were called a Kempston. Someone would have put that in the comments
right?
by now. But yeah, it's a Kempston whatever joystick. Honestly, dog shit. So the new pad, it's a bit more of a hybrid between Xbox and PlayStation, and it's got all these different features. It's really fucking cool. But the main thing, it's just faster. So, but all my mates are still on a 4.
So they can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly. So
And
they're
you're super fucking
and
fast
And
anyway.
I'm sat there waiting. I'm like, are you coming in? And because they haven't got it and they're kind of pissed off that I have, I can't really go, come on, boys, because then they'll just kick me out the fucking lobby. Yeah, I did screw myself, though, because I plugged the cable into my 4 and into my 5, so it did the transfer. Went to bed, left it, got up the next day, and it's Friday night. That's when I play. And all the lads are on. And obviously, the first thing they do, they meet you with grief. They don't like, how are you? It's nice to see you. Happy birthday. Hope the kids are all right. It's like, all right, fuckhead. What time do you call this? Just standard. And mine was lagging. So I was driving, and all of a sudden there was a car in front of me, and then it was gone. And then I'm in a field with a sheep, and I was like, oh, bear in mind, I've got the latest thing.
Yeah.
That they're all jealous, or I've kind of made them jealous because I've got it before them, which is bad. But I'm complaining that I can't play the game. And because I'd not taken the cable out, I'd completely fucked myself, which just gave them ammo for fucking days.
Are you still playing, what's it called?
Wreckfest.
Yeah, it's
mate.
a great game that is.
Driving a toilet round a loop-the-loop on a Friday night when you are absolutely banjoed is gold.
Sounds like a normal Friday night.
That is Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, it's a good game, that is.
Yeah.
It is good.
But she got me a Stormtrooper helmet.
And to build?
No, bottle opener.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking brilliant.
Really, yeah.
It's by the artist who designed the original Stormtrooper helmet, and they've done a collection, and it's like this ceramic. It's about this big. That's why I'm doing that. And basically, in our kitchen,
That's a big old bottle opener.
it's fucking massive, but it's cool because it's the original Stormtrooper helmet. But when you come in our kitchen and then almost double back on yourself to go back into the outhouse, there's a piece of wall that is perfect. It fucking fits absolutely perfect. It's not allowed to go there.
Why not?
Because she said. And I was like, well, why have you got it? She went, you put it on your shed. I was like, I wanted to go on my shed. So
are you restricted to your shed for all the toys as well then?
so many things. She bought me these really nice pictures. All these, that can go up in your shed.
Lovely.
So I was like, all right, darling. So basically, she sent me down to my shed with all my birthday stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was good, though. It was a good day. But yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird just being 40.
40.
Yeah, because I think you almost class yourself like nearly 40 from like 37. And I was talking to Saul from Chase, because we obviously spoke about this before, and I was saying how insane it was to think I was at my mum's 40th birthday and he had exactly the same thing. You're written off at that point. And it kind of put something into perspective for me, because me and Olive spoke about it, that I would have classed myself as a cool dad. My kids think I'm a fucking idiot. But like everyone else's kids, I went to see Wad's kids the other day. I caused fucking chaos. It was amazing.
Of course you did. You showed up with what? Scale Electric?
Walked in with it's Scale Electric, but it's called Anki. So it's Anki Overdrive. All the pieces magnetized together dead quick. You can make a track in seconds. And all the cars are Bluetooth. But you've got weapons and stuff. So I'm not going to show up at a house with two...
Weapons?
Yeah. So you can like freeze the car. So if you're driving near them...
Oh, really?
And it's like Mario
that's
Kart.
Some modern shit.
Yeah. Mad. Cool. Debs texted me the day after I dropped it off when the kids were at school. I was like, playing Anki Overdrive on my own. 5 to you, Debs. Which was wicked. But obviously, as soon as I walked in for a business transaction to leave some things for accounts, I turned up with Scale Electric and
Of course you did.
just got the kids riled up into a bit of a frenzy.
Yeah, you got to.
Problems.
Well, that's what happened when they came over here. It was all, we were building Lego and playing with real deactivated guns.
Yeah, that's what you want, though.
Yeah. Flintlock pistols, though. I mean, we're playing pirates.
Yeah.
That's cool, isn't it?
I love it.
And it all opens up on the side as well. So I've got, also to build up, I got the Darth Vader helmet and the Scout helmet and the Stormtrooper helmet and the, what they're called? TIE Fighter helmet. There we go.
There.
I was going to do that. TIE Fighter
That was the first figure I got.
Was it? The
Yeah,
TIE Fighter?
Yeah. And
all black with the pipe?
No. It was the ATST pilot, which was black with grey.
Oh, okay.
So it was a TIE Fighter pilot helmet.
Yeah.
But, well, obviously it's an ATST.
Didn't they have the weird helmets that were like Darth Vader's but without the
legs?
face? No, they had like the
the pilot. No, they were sort of stood on top. They weren't driving.
Oh, were they not?
The guys who pushed the button for the Death Star, weren't they?
Yeah, a lot of them had that, like upside down walk, like a bent
That was
walk.
it, yeah. They were taking the piss out of him in Spaceballs.
Yes.
Because they all had massive hats, didn't they?
Spaceballs.
Good movie.
Yes, it was a good movie.
Well, you had toys last week, so I've got toys this week. Although you bought some stuff, didn't
Do you want me to back up what I said, or do you want to bring yours in?
Go on, back at what you said then.
Well, I said I had Clubber Lang.
Yeah. Well, I've seen this. I have questions about this.
And I've got Clubber Lang.
That's badass.
This is as vintage. This is when eBay first came out, and I think I spent, I don't know, £600 by accident. I didn't realise that if you put it in, you have to get it. So I went to about 4 eBay accounts in about a month because I kept doing it. And then someone was like, "You owe me money," and there was no PayPal, or I didn't have PayPal. He was like, "Send me a check," and I was like, "I don't know how to do that. I work in a bank, but I don't, this is modern day. I'll drive to you and I'll pay you." And he's like, "I'm in Wales." So this guy came from eBay in probably 1998, 99. And it is literally Mr. T, but on the original He-Man frame. I mean, if you look at the way his hands are shaped, it is a He-Man figure. But he's got these little silk shorts, which have got a C and an L on them, rubberized gloves, and a really shitty belt. But
I've got questions about this.
okay, is he?
I mean, first of all, it's cool. Second of all, you bought it with the intention of never opening it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. My third question.
Go on.
Why, if you were going to do removable items of clothing, wouldn't you put a T-shirt on him?
Well, yeah, because he had the crop top, didn't he? Why would you take his
removable
shorts off?
shorts is weird.
Kink.
It's weird,
Yeah,
right?
it's the 80s, man.
Like, now, it's a bit weird for me to say this. I have an action figure, right? The limited edition action figure came with a removable bandana and T-shirt.
Yes.
Which is cool.
Yes, because they're not taking your pants off.
If it came with removable shorts, that would be weird.
Yes.
I'm surprised that Mr. T signed off on this.
I don't think he did. I think if you take them off, you'll actually find the He-Man furry pants.
What's Mr. T's real name?
Don't tell me. Begins with T.
I'm not going to tell you. I've got no idea. I love the fact that he's got removable gloves there. I think that's very cool. But I think the removable shorts is a bit weird. Does it begin with T?
Or H?
We've got a Jamie now. We can ask him.
You called him Young Jamie. That's the 40th thing I've ever heard anyone do. Before you're 40.
You gonna guess?
No, I can't. It's
He ain't going
blank.
to guess either.
It's Lawrence
Blank.
Chiro.
There you go, Churro, yeah.
Lawrence Turode.
Because it's Mr.
Born May
T.
25th, 1952.
That's why he was Mr. T, because in the A-Team he's B.A. Baracus. Because when people refer to him in the A-Team as Mr. T, that's not Mr. T. That's like saying George Peppard.
So why was he Mr. T over B.A. Baracus or B.A. Baracus?
Because he was Mr. T because he was a bouncer.
Okay.
So then he did WrestleMania 2, I think, with he did a boxing match against Roddy Piper. And then he did, obviously there was the crossover where he was fighting in WrestleMania for a bit. Like I think it might have been WrestleMania 4 as well with Hulk Hogan or something.
But he wasn't Mr. T in
wrestling. He was. When he was in the A-Team, he was B.A. Baracus. So the character in the A-Team is B.A. Baracus. So Rampage played B.A. Baracus, not Mr. T.
Oh, shit.
That's why he pities the fool. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's cool, right?
Well, and say for all of the A-Team I watched back in the day.
Yeah.
Like after football on a Saturday.
Mate, I was obsessed. I was talking to my friend about it the other day and he's never watched an episode.
Really?
But he was like really mad down on it. He went, it was dog shit.
I always remember that thing that Hannibal was in the credits that was like a...
Godzilla.
Yeah,
and he
is that
just
what
pulled
it
it
was?
open and then pulled it. But it looked
massive cigar.
It looked like a scab that someone had peeled off. But it was Godzilla. Do you know what I mean? It looked like tarmac that had been peeled up, and he just put this cigar in.
Yeah, they were good shows.
I never wanted to be face when you played in the playground, though.
No.
I don't think anyone wants to be face.
No.
When you were 16, that's all you wanted to be.
Check
Face.
it out.
What you got?
Just tilt your mic up just a little bit more to you.
Like that? Is that better?
That's better.
Do I need to be here? Is that a bit better? Is it?
Is
No, I mean, you can keep but just point it to your mouth.
Okay. Like this.
That's it. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. So you brought over yours the other day, and we're having a look through them. I've got my micro machines here, and look how classic that is.
I need to know what other people put in theirs.
I can remember what these taste like.
Yeah.
Like clearly drumsticks, horrible. Fucking these things.
Do you know what
like,
flavour a drumstick is?
chalky.
Do you know what the flavour says on the side of the wrapper? Two things you'd never put together, but do you know what it is?
No.
Raspberry and milk. That's a drumstick lolly. That's the actual
Raspberry and milk.
raspberry and milk.
Why would they? If they were only making one flavour, why would they settle on that as a flavour?
Yeah, but they fucking nailed it, dude.
Mate, look at these. There's the Coca-Cola ones I was talking about. Look.
Oh, you got the big wheels.
Yeah.
Oh no, the mid wheels. So
I've
they
got all
were
kinds
like
of
not
shit.
the monster truck.
Honestly, like you could go through this and you'd be like, oh, I remember that one. I remember that one. It's the same. And I've got Train Track.
It's literally the
It's
same
ridiculous.
thing, just tipped into a
Right?
different tub.
Exactly. What else have I got? See if you recognise these. I don't know how they found their way into these boxes. They used to be in tubs.
These are
and
very
shit.
fancy, but Muscle Men.
Remember them?
Muscle
So-
Men, and those are
Well,
monsters in my pocket.
That's it. I've got a couple of different ones here. I've got Muscle Men and I've got. Yeah, I don't.
The monsters
I remember
in my pocket
these
were meant
because
to
you
be.
used to buy these in they used to come in like a big bucket.
Yeah, they came in a bin.
Whereas like these came individually. I think did they not come in like?
They came in like
plastic
a
wrappers?
packet of 4. So Monsters in My Pocket, they started in a cereal. So I think it was Wheatos. Because we didn't have Wheatos.
Oh, that's what they're called. Monsters in My Pocket.
Yeah, we had, it was Wheatos and Shredders. You got a free one in it.
Cool.
And it was one of those days when you pester your mum at a supermarket. I'll definitely eat the whole box, mum. I promise. And then you get home and she's like, right, try the Shredders. And you're like,
The only thing I remember like that was Crazy Bones.
Crazy Bone. What, like the Go-Go's?
Yeah.
Little plastic Go-Go's where you throw them at it. Yeah.
He was one of my favourites.
Yeah.
6 arms.
Like Goro.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 2 more.
Cool. And then
had him
these
as well.
And I've got 2 of the big ones of these as well. The ones that you can control with your hand.
If that's going to be a goblin, I'm going to lose my mind. Did you just do this
yeah.
at me? Okay.
Yeah. I've got the little ones. Remember these? Spew. First one I pulled out.
Wow.
Look at that.
I never had the little ones.
I remember we traded these at school. Oh shit! What's that? Didn't you bring some of them over the other day?
Yeah.
They're like pro wrestlers or something.
I think it's like a hybrid.
Anything that could fight or would fight. These have all fought one another at some point.
Well, they're like the micro beasts. We
Here
had
we
the
go,
micro beasts
He's
where
prime ready to smash someone. These like
Looks like Dan
free
Henderson.
crisps or some shit. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because it's like so. We were talking about this the other day. I was trying to explain to V because obviously she's a little bit younger than us, and like when we were young, like there were only a few things that everyone liked.
Yeah.
There wasn't the variety
And it's
that
the
there
next
is
thing.
now, and it's and shit wasn't disposable either. Like I've had these for years.
Same as them.
Still play with them like most of the time. No, I don't really. But like you had all the same shit because there weren't as many options and like these as well. I remember I've got like clear memories of these and like trading these with other kids at school and shit. Everybody had them.
the coolest was when someone would go on holiday because there wasn't as many. Well, abroad holidays, I never really heard about it much.
No.
It wasn't like, oh, such as going to Florida. If someone was going abroad, it was a big thing. And one kid, his name was Toby Flood, and he was a proper King Ding, year above me. And he came into school one day and he had like 5 new figures and he'd been to America. And they were called food fighters. And one was like a hot dog with a gun, and one was
Food
a burger.
fighters. Dave Grohl.
Yeah, Dave Grohl was in there, just at the back, dressed as a demon from Tenacious D. But it was one of them that was the only way you'd really find.
Cover your ears. Oh, I know. Hang on. We should have spread that. We should have used this to catch them all. That's a smart move. Look at that.
Let's move Clubber Lang out.
Yeah, let's move Crubber Lang before he gets buried in toy cars. There we go. Look at that.
But that was the only way you'd find something completely obscure.
Of course.
Like there was,
But they were always like, it was always like counterfeit shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember having one of the Ninja Turtles. I think I had Leonardo. I don't know how I got it, but I didn't buy it. I had one of the Ninja Turtles, and I always wanted the other ones. And we went on holiday to Spain, and I got 4 Ninja Turtles, counterfeit, like terrible quality.
worst.
But like they were my Ninja Turtles and they were awesome.
Shredded,
and they
nick
were
your fingers
different
off.
to everybody else.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah.
like, yeah, well, you know.
Well, I came from a family with a background of divorce, so I could play those quite well because I got the 4 Turtles off my dad, and my mum bought me Shredder and Rocksteady and Bebop.
Oh, really?
Which, if you ever had the Shredder figure, you'll probably be able to see him now. But he had a cape, he had a purple cape, and he was wicked, and he was fucking really evil looking, and he was like hunched over almost in like a fight stance. But if you took his cape off, he looked like a fucking pensioner. And you just had this withered old, like Mumra, you know, before Mumra changes in
Fucking
Thundercats.
Mumra.
And he was just like, please help me. And he was just fucked completely. So if you couldn't find the cape, it was a bad day because the Turtles wouldn't even want to fight him because, steady. Dude. But it was Argos. For me, I can remember getting my Goblin.
Mate.
And Boglin.
Argos.
My Boglin.
Boglin. That's what they were called.
Yeah, they've been saying that for the last 5
know,
minutes.
they're
Someone listening
screaming
going,
at us.
no, not Goblin, you fucking idiot. It's Boglin. Because we'd go to Argos and it was like you put the code in with a mini pencil, but they would just give you a random selection.
Dude, what a weird concept.
You couldn't choose one. I did it with my eyes.
Did you? What a weird concept for a shop. Like you go in and you look through a book which has got pictures of all of the items that they sell. You write the code down, you take it to someone at a counter, and then they go and
off to
get
Narnia.
it. And like they bring
Mate.
it out, and you're like, "Well,
Okay.
you're buying it now because we're not putting it back."
No, but I was always fascinated by Argos because it never looked big. You know, when you stand there and like,
No.
I'll have this trampoline, please, and just some dude brings it out. There you go. You're like, where the fuck was that?
Where was that? Yeah,
Yeah, some fucking wardrobe.
yeah. And someone had taken the time to take the catalogue apart and completely laminate the whole damn thing.
Oh mate, they were sharp.
They were.
Especially when you saw some kid. Some kid had his birthday money.
Look at him howling.
And nice.
I'm gonna have to add some of these to the set.
But you know some kid had his birthday money because you can just hear that laminate just...
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, I don't know, I'm in homewares, I want toys. Toys are always at the back.
Always at the back.
Always
weren't
at the
they?
back. Argos and Index.
Flip straight through. I used to get this weird adrenaline rush when the new catalog came and I could see the new. It was the new Lego
City.
It was like because they'd always have their own display as well, like shit that was taken specifically for that catalog. So I'd flip to the Lego page and it'd open up and there were like castles on one side with like 1,000 fucking Robin Hood men invading a castle that was being defended by 500 guys with spears and shit. And I'm like, I
want that set.
all of that.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get that? And then on the other side, you've got this like desert island scape with boats in the background and pirates shooting. I'm like, I want all of that.
Lego City Police Boat. I'll never forget when they did the adverts. And like Lego Police were going through this village, and then there was one time and it had like a removable jail cell. I think Fast and Furious got the idea for Fast and Furious 7 from a Lego advert in 1996. But fuck, I can just remember jonesing for it. But the sets, if you remember Co-op, as in cooperative, my dad was doing a job for a bloke that worked for the Co-op as an insurance broker. And we were doing a kitchen extension and a loft. My dad's a joiner, by the way, so he's not just like doing a job, but he was doing a loft conversion and a kitchen extension. And it turned out when we went to empty the loft, this guy who worked for the Co-op was the guy who built all of the sets to be in the windows. So if you remember the Co-op buildings, they were quite distinct.
Yeah.
They had like a boxed window.
Some of them were powered and stuff as well.
Yes,
weren't they?
exactly. So it's a bit like before Hamleys did it or whatever, but like in most towns, you'd have a Co-op and they'd have all the Lego sets. But what he fucking glued them.
Oh,
Even
mate.
though no one's ever going to touch him, he fucking glued them. And again, before the Lego movie, I said, see you with Craggle. And so he went into his loft and it was just like a vintage like museum. And then he had this storage unit down the garden that was just full of stuff that no one wanted. And like there was a load of original Lego sets. Honestly, all my money I earned on that job, working with my dad, was literally Friday, taken off him, walked down to this storage unit at the bottom of his garden. I'm like, I'll have that. Off I went. No money for fuck all. Nothing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I used to, and the other one was Co-op in Nottingham. Like they had a big wall of which was then taken over by Toys R Us because that was an even bigger wall of Lego.
Okay.
But like I remember like having like my birthday money, so I'd have like like a few quid from different family members, and I'd have this money and I'd know exactly how much there was, and then I'd stand in front of this wall and like try and figure out like what I felt was the most value for money of like, okay, well if I get that set, like that's got a shark, so I've got to get that set because I don't have a shark.
Don't have a shark yet.
Don't have a shark.
No.
I need a shark. And I'm like, but then that one's got 3 cars with it, and it's not quite. You know what I mean? I'd be like standing there for hours, like
you're looking
weighing,
at the pieces, and
and then standing there with like Lego boxes under my arms. I'm like,
you couldn't carry it.
no, of course not.
Oh,
no.
mate.
When you've got enough money to have too much Lego to carry,
That's the day. That is the day.
yeah.
But I can.
I grew up and nothing's ever changed.
No.
Like Lego still turns up at the house from time to time now. Part of that is down to Veronica, that she has a problem.
I can remember talking to you about it a minute ago, just about what you had your birthday money in, because I didn't have a wallet, and I can remember having this Cadbury's. It wasn't Cadbury's. We couldn't afford Cadbury's, but it was a hot chocolate powdered tub that hadn't been washed out. Had all my birthday money in.
Oh, nice.
And I'd walk around with it like
so
this.
the money had like a nice chocolatey smell.
Honestly, but it was paper then.
Fucking
Obviously
hell.
not like the plastic it is now. So like I'd go into Toys R Us, march in, find my Lego, and then I'd hand this pot over to like some unsuspecting woman who's, what do you want to do with this, mate? I was like, got my money in there. I ran, what the fuck? Why would you?
I don't know.
put it in
I'm
a
not sure
fucking
why
wallet?
you'd choose that. I remember I had like mine was like a nylon,
Velcro.
yeah, Velcro.
Rippy one.
Horrible sound.
I used to rob them.
Of course you did.
I used to rob them from GT Sports. It
course
was
you
a
did.
challenge. You know,
Robbing wallets. I mean,
it was the year that Man United had a red home kit, which was normal. It had a black away kit, and it had the blue and white away kit, or it was the grey. What basically Man United released a kit. I think it might have been grey, and everyone was like, don't like that. So they did a blue and white one as well.
T-Man.
Definitely, that needs to stay.
He needs to stay, doesn't he?
And when you open the wallet all the way out, it was the full kit, but it was right behind the till. So someone said to me at school, "You can't get me one of them." I was like, "You fucking watch me." So I got him 3, and then it just went from there. And they shut down a little while after that.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Unrelated.
I wonder why.
It wasn't just from stealing a fucking.
Probably not. Probably
odd-
not from
the
you
odd wallet.
clearing them out on a weekly basis.
Yeah, just going
like
in-
taking orders from kids at school.
I had my lucky jumper. I looked like Chunk when I was
It's a
walking
good
out
thing
of
you're
shops.
40 actually, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to talk about any of this stuff.
Is that all right?
Like when I was writing my book, they had to go through and take a bunch of stuff out because not enough time had passed. I'm like, you can't tell that story yet. I'm like, okay.
So what's the time?
I think it's 15 years for
Oh,
a
good.
lot of stuff, so you're fine. But
Like,
it's
I can remember shitting myself.
literally.
Yeah, literally. It was 19...
What the fuck is that?
I would have been 13. So about 1994. So when you get a criminal record, is it 13? You can get a criminal record.
I've not got one. I don't know.
No, I haven't got one. You
say that?
No, I did, because I can remember going to the police station. They were like...
He broke in and stole it out of the cupboard.
Yeah, I robbed it. I did a Breaking Bad. But because my friend that was with me was still 12, they were like, "Oh, we don't have to worry about you. You're not old enough." But they really put the fucking screws on me. And basically, we'd been into... This was when we got caught. We got caught stealing Pogs. But before that, when we started...
What generation of Pogs were they? Were they all the ones with the little caveman on them?
Yes.
Okay, like early ones.
Well, that was the ones that
Was
we were
that like
collecting, but I was
96?
stealing Power Ranger ones because it was my brother's birthday and I hadn't got him a present.
I never got into Power Rangers.
No, I wasn't a big fan. Really?
It was on Big Power Rangers.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, my brothers were into it big time. They were quite a bit younger than
Maybe
me.
that's why you got into MMA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 'Cause
Power
of the
Rangers
Green
to-
Ranger.
there you go.
Green Ranger, he did a bit of MMA.
Yeah, one
didn't
of
he?
them-
Now he's
yeah.
in prison.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Tommy.
There's a lot of people.
He was a
Green and white. I know. And the gold. Yeah, you can get the gloves as well. I bought them for my brother. But,
So you were robbing.
So when I was robbing, we went to HMV. And
HMV, his master's voice.
Yes. Is that what
I
it
used to
stands for?
love HMV.
The little
yeah.
dog?
Yeah, the little dog. I used
Jack
to
Russell.
love HMV.
Well, we went in there. I used to buy a lot of stuff from there. And then when I was with my mate who lives in New York now, Brooke, he was like, "I need something for my mum for a birthday." And I was like, "What's she into?" And he went, "Cock and bingo." Not really. He said, "Classical music." So we went upstairs and it's quieter upstairs.
Yeah.
And we picked up like a 4 CD album and just in it went. Not condoning this, it was a bad thing to do. But that was say 1994, 93. And we got out and ran straight where the Derby Ram is, that's where HMV was. And we fucking bolted like 2 little Jack Russells. Off we went. But on the bus, we were unstoppable. couldn't like, was just so happy. So I never went back in HMV because about 6 months later, me and him walked in, and as we walked in, a security guard looked at us, and we got this feeling of like, oh shit.
He recognised us.
So we turned around and ran.
Yeah.
I didn't go back in there until I was with Stace, and she'd ordered me something, and she's like, oh, we just got to nip in here. And bear in mind, from 13 to 18...
Was your heart beating? And you're like, they're going to recognise me.
Honestly, I was fucking terrified the whole time, and she didn't know why. And
that'd have been hilarious if you'd have walked in, it was the same security guard.
I got arrested from being 13.
Brilliant.
And he just grabbed me and went, not enough time has passed. And I'm like, no! Yeah, so I only got pinched once.
I never got into any. I never did any robbing. I never stole anything. It was
never from people or things. I never like mates stole toys or like off people. Like but it was always just shoplifting. So it was more to see if you could get away with it as close as you could.
Right.
So like there was one place me and the same guy went on holiday together, and there was something on the counter, and he was like, "See if you can get one of them." And it was like a wooden ring. It was like 10 pence. It wasn't even worth stealing.
So it was the challenge. It was doing it then.
Yeah, just that sleight of hand, just trying to fucking see if you can get away with it, or the biggest thing that you could get away with without being seen. Do you know what I mean?
I remember working in shops and shoplifters coming in. Like I remember when the fair was in town, and a couple of girls had come in and had, like, they were cutting feathers off shoes on the shop floor. What? Yeah, they were just like, they'd like walk up and they'd just have a little knife, and they'd just like, yeah, there was like the fair in the market square, you know what I mean? So there's a bunch of strangers in town, and they were just like, but it was like that kind of thing. It was like they were trying to see what they could get away with.
Yeah, just
they were just
pushing
like
it,
walking up to a pit, like a display shoe, and just like cutting a feather off it and putting it in their pocket and walking out.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
How much damage do I have to do before you react?
A lot of people. I used to work in a shop that sold like outdoor stuff. Like North Face and
like Blacks.
Yeah.
Is it Blacks?
It was there was a Castle Mountain and More.
It
was a Castle Mountain and More. It was like a branch in Nottingham, and I used to work for like their like higher end.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Victoria Centre.
Go and see Mr. Hardy.
Yeah, that was it. No, I was only a kid at the time.
Did you have a cape?
Wish I'd have had a cape.
A high end.
I had long hair at the time.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. But people used to just come in and put something on and walk out with it.
Oh, big time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And I remember walking into a co-op nearby, and a guy was walking out with a whole basket loaded with meat, like shrink wrap fresh meat.
Dude.
He just walked in, picked up a basket, loaded it up, and just walked straight out the shop.
I've witnessed that since I've been
older.
older.
I'm like, it just seems kind of odd.
Yeah, well, just get one thing worth 20 quid, or you could get 30 things worth a pound. Yeah. What the fuck are you doing?
It was just walked in and walked out. It was like no big deal.
You know, when people. I had it a few times because I worked at Bacon's, so in Derby.
What's Bacon's?
It was a cheap shoe shop, a bit like Jonathan James or something. So you remember Bacon's, just cheap shit.
Smell of Jonathan James, like a cheap
leather,
kind of
placky, all smelled like shit plimsolls.
Yeah. And they always had carpet tiles.
Carpet tiles. There was no box for the shoes. They were just put in a bag. They were kimbled together. Just dog shit shoes.
Yeah. Sometimes worn from the last person that's tried them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So, I worked there, and I can remember there was one guy that tried to run out, and there was a double door, and he ran from he ran from one into the other door, full tits, and just
ran straight into Dumbledore.
And we just left. Yeah, Dumbledore. We just left him, and he sort of got up and gathered himself. And there was another kid, and they used to come in. There was 3 of them, and he was in a wheelchair. And it was one of them that you didn't see many kids in wheelchairs, and especially, like, even though, say I was...
No, it's because nowhere had ramps back in our day.
No, like, you have to fucking walk. Yeah. But I can't. Well...
Couldn't get anywhere.
Try harder.
Back in.
So, because I was, say, 16, you'd see, like, him and his mates, and he's, like, 14, being pushed around by his mates, and it was kind of cool. He's like, oh, we're still sticking together. You're not ditching him. That's fucking cool, man. Good lads. Turns out, they were robbing everywhere. It's because he had a blanket on his knee, and everything just went under. But because, like, he'd be quite open, like talking to everyone, nice guy and everything else, he'd just get away with it. But the amount of shit, like, they'd pull his blanket back and he just had so much shit under there, like magpie squirreling.
I used to have a friend that lived in Los Angeles, and they used to make receipts. So what they'd do is they'd go into a shop, they'd get the cart, and they'd walk up and they'd load like a TV onto it, but they'd have the receipt for the time that they were going in already printed off.
Nice.
And then when they got to the door and they come to check the receipt, they go, oh yeah. And the amount of times that they'd help them load it into the back of their car,
Mate.
and they're just honestly, they got away with so much shit.
I had that
It was Walmart though, so you know what I mean.
You don't
It's
mind
like,
that.
yeah.
I had it with Powerade.
Got to even it out somehow.
By accident, I went to a discount shop, and they had Powerade. You know when it first came over here,
Yeah,
and it was like luminous blue.
yeah. You can't. You don't drink anything that's that colour.
No,
Drink
Well,
or eat. I tell you, the
or
last
eat.
thing I had that was that colour was those fucking horrible sour things that Mystery
made
had.
us eat. Oh,
We were in that shop the other day, and I walked past and I looked at the bag.
he had a fever dream.
Oh, they were so bad.
He was so happy though. He was like a kid. Honestly, he was like a kid who had a push pop for the first time. He was like, "Oh, let me get these men down." We bought something like really generic, if anything. Got it in the
was
back of the
like-
car. And he was like, "Have one of these." It just turned your face inside out.
Oh, they were so bad. They were so bad.
It made your face with a bumhole face off preacher.
Like, ugh.
Do you know what I mean? Season 1. Okay.
I literally had to just spit it out
Disgusting.
straight away. It was so bad.
Awful.
Did you get some sleep after ride along?
How was that?
Mate, it was wicked. Apart from me getting told off by everyone for staring at my phone.
I need to clear that up for you. I don't think Ollie did.
What?
It was. I think it's tricky because I watched a bit of it, and then Stace was talking to me because obviously she'd watched a bit. Because it was weird. I left here. I got home. I went straight to sleep. Well, at first I shit my pants. How do I get in? Because it's 6 a.m. So I've got
You've
three
got
dogs.
3 dogs.
I've got a van that they know, and I am definitely their favourite because I take them for a walk. So one of the dogs would have pined for me all night. Not just being big-headed, he's just my boy. So when I pulled up, I was thinking, fuck, I need to get the van on the drive, get the key in the door, and hold all 3 of their mouths shut nicely, not in a bad way,
Not in an
but just like,
aggressive way.
boys, here's a biscuit, shut the fuck up. Otherwise, I'm going to wake 3 crazy girls. One of them obviously being my wife, and the other 2 being the mental kids that I made. So I was terrified at this point because I've not slept at any point now, and I'm fucked. And all I want to do is just crawl into bed and go sleep. So we managed to do it a bit. They had a bit of a reaction, but
Did they?
Stace heard the van as well, so she sort of grabbed them in a bit of a headlock. So I ran upstairs, got into bed, but when she woke me up at dinner time, it was like it was Monday.
Yeah.
It was the trip because I
Weird.
normally
Yeah,
watch
you
it
normally-
Sunday. I don't go on social. Looking at my phone on a Sunday was fucking weird, and like being a part of the conversation, like, oh, that happened. It's like, I know, I've never had that before, or for such a long time. So that was weird, but it was more just explaining that obviously you and I know it's the first time. Everyone knows it's the first time,
Yeah.
but to sit in the set, we're on a stage.
Yeah.
So the back seat of the Cadillac is slightly higher, and you can't put your feet on the floor or your orange on the side. You have to spill it on the side.
You have to spill it on. It's left a lovely mark on the
Of course it has. Mate, I was devastated. I told Stacey, and she was more than disappointed.
Mate,
You know,
after a few years of that set's going to start looking like the Playboy Mansion, so don't worry about it too much.
yeah, well,
Like we'll have Goddard on here at some point, and sofas normally eat him. So
I've got when he just smashes the stage. Like
no,
Donkey
it's all
Kong.
good. It's all good. It's all character in it. You'd expect stains like that on the back seat of a Cadillac.
Exactly. So,
Beer stains.
you know when I was looking at the comments and it
You
was
want
like,
to play, don't you, Jamie? I can see him. He's like looking at these. He's like,
do you want one?
well, this is the thing is with this. Like, this is
This was like the advert. The advert was just a table full of them.
the game that we're it was, wasn't it? The game that we're playing here is I'm going to stand all these up. That one don't stand. Stand all these up and then see if we can not bang the table and knock them all over.
Oh, the more muscle
you
men we
see.
knock over, the more push-ups you have
I
to
should
do.
put them up on when Ollie's here as well because he likes smacking the shit out of the table.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Tripwires everywhere.
Yeah. Just for Ollie.
So
I
what
had
did you-
him holding his wrist.
Did you? Yeah.
I just thought it was a bit shit. I like the ones that were
you
doing
see-
something.
You see, I
but
used
he's more
to use him
arrogant.
for dropping elbow on somebody from
Oh, yeah,
top
true.
rope.
Jump him down.
You see, that's the thing. That like this guy here, look, he's looking where he's going to throw this dude because he's not throwing him because he's a ghost. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yes.
I think he should stay on.
But these could go in the bath as well.
Along with Mr. T.
Of course. Mr. TT.
Actual Mr. T. That's Bia Baracus.
Of course it is. Well, it's not.
And
it's
that's
Lawrence.
That's Chirode. And that's Tuberacus.
Tuberacus.
Yeah.
Nice. We just need a Sharpie, a bit of a mohawk on him. What was I saying? Yeah.
What's into the fights? Tell me about the fights.
Well, I was going to clear it up quick.
Oh, go on.
Real quick.
What, the mess on the sofa?
No, I can do that
That's
later.
too late.
That needs steaming. But it was,
You were.
it was everyone's reaction saying, this is not a very good reaction. And I was like, well, it's 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
we can't really move because we're more conscious about not making a noise on the mics. Does that make sense? So like, as much as Rose's head kick was phenomenal, like we're kind of knackered. So by the time you're watching it, you're like, "Fuck me, that was amazing."
Well, it's difficult for you because obviously you have a grown-up life. It's the same dude again, looking a different colour.
Yeah, see.
You've got a grown-up life, so you've got little people around that you've got to like maintain during the daytime hours. I could have had a nap, but we were too busy doing testing and stuff and setting it all up. So I didn't get one, and you didn't really get a nap, did you? So it was like we're all a little bit like. Next time I'm gonna be more organised. Now, I was watching the chat on the,
I know you were.
Thingy,
well, you were filling us in because then you were asking you questions.
Yeah.
So organically, while I was here,
conversing with people,
it was the best night ever because it was high energy. But then when they were saying this was a British response, I'm like, fuck yeah, we're knackered, and we couldn't really move. But there is something to be said. Obviously, not just America, they like a bit more pantomime. Because even when I was watching, there's a John Gooden, Johnny G's, Nick, and Jack Shaw.
Yeah, Jack Shaw, yeah.
And you can tell that John Gooden and Nick have had to put the pantomime pepper on there a little bit. Like, oh, what? And you're like, that's not you, man. Whereas Jack Shaw was almost like, fucking hell.
yeah.
And that's legit. To me, we responded so naturally. Because even when Weidman's leg went, Dan was like, right, you walk it off? You good?
Yeah.
Other people are like dry heaving. So
I've just seen it so many times.
Of
It's
course.
it's lost its shock value now, I think.
But
you don't want to see it, and like when you see it, like my first thought is, oh shit, Chris Weidman. He seems all right though. You know, he's had his surgery and he's laughing and smiling and posting his piss on his Instagram and stuff.
Here's a question for you then.
I don't know what does he come back? That's the question. That's my first thought. He's like, oh shit, that's a game changer.
Big time. So other than the fact that 3 times that's happened in the UFC, Corey Hill, Anderson, and now Weidman.
Ross Pettifer was the other one I was trying to remember the other day. I couldn't remember. It's literally just jumped into my head.
The only
one
one,
a K1 match as well, which I was talking about.
The only one I can remember, I think it was Sid Justice from wrestling that changed his name to Sid Vicious. Jumped off a top rope once and his leg went the same way, I think.
The worst thing was he had boots on though, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it kept his leg in the twisted position that he landed in. I remember seeing that. Like he landed on it, and then like as he rocked back, his leg had 2 bends in it.
Yeah.
It was like knee bend, and then like he
didn't look good, did it? Yeah,
no, not at all.
But
and then when the crowd's like,
carry on then.
Is
it's
that
all
real?
fake, right?
Is that?
I just put my rubber leg on for a minute.
Yeah.
But with that, so Chris Weidman now, right? Mm-hmm. Does he get remembered for being someone that came into a fight with Anderson Silva unbeaten and dethroned the then unstoppable champ? And not only dethroned him, he then beat him in a rematch. So he's beat Anderson Silva twice, legit, before any steroid talk, any issue, any problems.
Yeah.
Defended it against Vitor, against Lyoto Machida. Looked the boy, right? And done it really, really well all the way through. Is he going to get remembered for that? Or is he going to get remembered for the guy that broke his leg on Uriah Hall's shin in a match where no other strikes were thrown and it retired him?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think what I realised that the more time passes, like people come into the sport, like, you know, in a couple of years' time, their context of everything that's going on in the sport is everything that they've witnessed, and very rare did they go back and watch a great deal, aside from like, you know, like if they hear about McGregor when he's fighting Nate Diaz, for example.
Yeah.
Like if that's the first fight, they're like, oh, you know, I'm going to watch this. Then they might go back and watch some other McGregor fights.
Yeah.
Or like when he's fighting Cowboy, they might watch a couple of other Cowboy fights.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's a lot of time that passes and people just don't keep up with it. And, you know...
It's almost like a one-way train.
Yeah.
Like my cousin got on at Rampage. So he basically got into MMA as Rampage came from Pride.
Right.
To fight Chuck. So when my cousin Gav came in, I had a picture of Chuck above the stairs. It was a canvas. Classy place.
See, the problem with that is that you don't get the appreciation of who Rampage is as they're coming over.
Or Chuck. Because Gavin came to me and was like, who the fuck is this guy? Because Chuck got knocked out consistently after that by everyone. So he had this opinion of like, who the fuck is Chuck? And it's because he got on the train after the Chuck stop.
Yeah.
So you've got
Chuck stop.
Well, it's quite famously like linked as in the Ronda era or the Brock era or the Connor era. But there's so many other eras before that. Like even the fact we saw Rich Franklin on there.
Mate, the Tito era.
Tito era.
Like Tito, Ken Shamrock.
Mate, Jens Pulver, BJ Penn, Matt Hughes, all these guys. And it's just insane because for me, I wanted to consume it all. So sometimes when you're trying to talk to someone, I mean, I know when me and Chris were working together, we were talking about GSP coming back.
Yeah. Oh, have you listened to his podcast? Listen to his podcast with Lex Friedman.
I saw that you put that. I've got it
really
listed.
good.
I've
not quite finished it yet, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. He's a really interesting dude, George is.
Yeah.
A total dork.
Yeah, I'll have a listen. He'd like our toys.
He'd sit here and go through them all.
He'd know all their names.
It's pretty good, right?
Chris was all about Bisping. So, as anyone that I work with, I force them into watching MMA and to the point when they're now a fan. So, if you don't like it when we sit together, you're going to like it by the time I've given you enough events for you to realise that it's the best thing in the world. So, Chris was on board to a degree, but then every time he watched it, bear in mind, Bisping's always been a gatekeeper. So, me being the knowledge of MMA in that pair, every time Bisping came to fight someone, I was like, he's not going to beat Anderson Silva, dude. It's Anderson Silva. Bisping wins. I'm like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. So the whole time, even then when he's beat Rockhold, I mean, I stood and I applauded when he beat Rockhold. It was one of the best things in the world. But before it happened, I assured Chris, he's not going to beat Bisping. Chris even lovingly calls Bisping the Sping. So this is his era.
The Sping.
He's all over this guy, right? So it was one of them that when he was about to fight GSP, I could not change tact at all because GSP was my boy. And I'm like, he's never going to be... And he's like, GSP's been out for this long. It's never going to happen. No way. And luckily, GSP fucking had my back. And Bisping's. But it was one of them where it's just interesting to see if you don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Then...
I bet it's making loads of noise on these cables, is it?
It's not too bad.
Sorry if it is, everybody. I can't not play with toys when they're in front of me.
They need to be arranged as well,
don't they?
So yeah, the fights. That was just to clear that up. It was more just to clear up that with not like anyone fucking cares.
You know what was a bit disappointing about the what's that?
Oh
shit! Of course it is, man. Look at that.
Lamborghini Countach with the doors that come up, boom, and the bonnet.
Has it still got both doors?
No, I didn't want to tell you about that because I didn't want you to think I'd done it.
No. The problem with that Lex Friedman podcast is GSP's talking about Khabib and about him, like Khabib's the only person he would have really wanted to come out of retirement for, and they even tried to make it, but the UFC weren't interested in it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a shame because I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen that fight, but then at the same time it's like a lot of people would wonder why that's the case. Like, why wouldn't the UFC want to make such a massive fight? And it's the same reason. Yeah, it's awesome, right?
Is it because too much time's passed?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's so like if you think of like how the UFC functions as a promotion, like say for example, right? Like Khabib retires undefeated. He takes that belt with him. Like in everybody's mindset, Khabib takes the belt with him.
Yep.
Right? Because no one's had their chance to prove themselves against him. So it doesn't matter who wins the belt next. We don't know. Khabib's still the champion. Even if say Gaethje steps in and takes the belt, or Poirier takes the belt, or McGregor takes the belt. Even though we've seen Khabib beat those guys, but even if Oliveira takes it or Chandler, and we've never seen those fight Khabib, like. The majority of people will still go, oh, well, they're the champion, but
they didn't beat Khabib.
Exactly. So it from a promotional perspective, that was difficult to say. From a promotional perspective,
nice.
It devalues the belt.
Yes, because GSP didn't show that he was coming back to be a middleweight champ to stick around. He was just going, see.
But the thing is, in GSP's defense, I think he was. I think his intention.
He wanted to stay.
I think because he agreed to fight Whittaker, didn't he? After Bisping, I think that was in his contract that he would, if he won the belt against Bisping, that he would stick around and fight Whittaker next.
See, I can't really trust what comes out because the problem is because it's always such a Dana's either best friends with them or
Yeah.
he fucking hates them. So like with the John Jones thing at the minute, it's not really clear.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to talk to you. Oh no, we're making a different fight, and it's never clear cut.
No, it's not. And everyone kind of plays a bit of a game as well, like with the headlines and stuff. But like, so GSP came back to fight Bisping, and in his contract, it was to stick around and face Whitaker for the middleweight belt afterwards. He got something, something like that. Something to do with his intestines anyway.
Yeah.
Because he was eating so much to get up to middleweight, and he ended up fixing it with fasting, and he dropped a bunch of weight. And I mean, he looks in fantastic shape now.
He's shredded.
As he always did. But like when he was up at middleweight, I don't think it was very healthy for him. But like, yeah, he said he expressed an interest in fighting Khabib, and the UFC weren't interested in it.
But if we did that, then if we go back, when does the belt stop? So from any is it inauguration of a belt, from the minute it starts?
Yeah.
When is the first time we can stop and say that was the only true champion, the last true champion? Because if you look at like the Frank Mir thing, so Frank Mir was champ, and he had his accident.
Yeah.
And Orlovsky and Sylvia fought for the belt 3 times. And Frank didn't come back round to that belt story for a long time. And Orlovsky and Frank didn't fight until years and years later. So is it only finalised then when we realise that Frank could beat Orlovsky, Orlovsky could beat Frank? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even though Orlovsky had the belt and then Tim Sylvia beat him, Frank was still he's not been tested or tried or been put up against anything because obviously he's had his accident. But it happens a lot, doesn't it? Because even when it was like, was it Johnny Hendricks and Nick Diaz and Condit and Fitch, and they were all kind of circling around this interim belt of nothingness that didn't really count because when GSP left, it was such an insane thing that you got Johnny Hendricks, Robbie Lawler, all these people that were the champ, but were they?
Well, the thing is, that was awkward as well because of the end of GSP's fight against Johnny Hendricks.
It was so close.
It was very close. So like the fact that GSP still left with the belt, it gave nobody that closure. No. And you kind of like, you see Dana react at the press conference towards it because he's like, he then sighed. He was like, that was like a clear win on the judges because then he needs to then validate Hendricks as the best in the
next guy. There you go.
What's going on here?
I don't know. Phoebe buffeting it.
Is that what you're doing? Yeah. I don't know. It's never ideal for the promotion if a champion retires undefeated because it always casts a shadow over the next person. Have I made a mess of this cable or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It always casts a shadow over the next champion. What is going on?
It was always weird. I have blinked every time to turn it back on. I just want to say, it's a weird thing for. We fucking rate or what?
Maybe it's the HDMI.
Is it the Ghost? Imagine if that's the most power it's got.
Is it the Ghost?
Fuck you guys.
Ollie came over with the kids the other day, and that was Cub's first question when he walked in. He's like, so where have you seen the Ghost then? Where is the Ghost?
He's behind you now, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it freaks out.
You've got to freak out.
He loves it though. He loves the idea of there being a ghost there.
That's good. Don't be scared of the ghost. My friend used to tell me ghost stories. My mum's house was massive, and it just had the bathroom. I told you before, the bathroom was made of cork. And my dad, again, being a joiner he was, it was a penthouse suite. It's actually got a gold token that's on the toilet system that says penthouse suite. So wherever he got this from was above and beyond. Everything is cork, but cork's very fucking light. And when it's in the long end of a corridor and like you go in there, you have a piss and like there's a pitch black window out onto the back of this garden, which is fucking terrifying as a kid. And you'd be having a piss and the airing cupboard door would just go like that. And you're like, why would a ghost live in a fucking airing cupboard anyway, above a bath? Play the game. But
scare the shit out of you when you're having a piss.
Well, it's either under there or under my cabin bed.
Of course.
So I'm like, okay. Yeah, so I'm not with Cobb on wanting to find the ghost. So I just want to know to stay away from the fucking ghost.
It don't bother me. This house is always creaking and like creaking and whistling. It's not as bad since I had the new roof put on, but it's...
And you got Veronica as a bodyguard.
Of course, yeah.
She knows where the weapons are faster than anyone else.
Yeah, they're spread all around the house, of course.
But I was very, very pleased on Saturday that I was able to call the fact that Rose was the first female fighter to regain a championship before I did any research or looked into it. That
was impressive.
I was pleased with myself.
Can she beat Zhang Weili again like she did with Joanna? She knocked Joanna out. And the question was, would she beat her in a rematch? And she did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She knocked out Zhang Weili. Now does she absolutely beat her in a rematch?
The thing is, when we look at Rose, that we go from the Carla Esparza loss, which I don't necessarily think was a technical or physical obstacle. I think a lot of it was mental, or it was just new, all very new, and it's on this new show, and the way that she bounced back from that was phenomenal. So for her to then have a word with, is it the Karate Hottie that she head
kicked
what
her
are
in
you
into
doing?
the choke? That was beautiful.
Have a word. So she's done nothing but been outstanding. And even the loss to Andrade was a bit of, I wouldn't say clusterfucking disrespect to either of them, but it wasn't like a technique that you are going to pull off every week in training. A lot of components had to come together for that to happen. But it just shows you how quickly, because of Wei Li's rise and how impressive she's been, to discount Rose immediately. Because a lot of people are like, Rose is never going to win this. Like, Wei Li's just on absolute top form, which she is. There's no discounting that. But because Rose was given space and able to do what she wanted to do, rather than like when Andrade pinned her against the cage, and obviously that was it a Kimura trap that ended up getting her on her head. Yeah. But when you think about it, it's just win, 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 win. One loss, all right, you're never going to win again. But what she did, dude. Yeah. I text Pat Barry yesterday just to say, because he's honestly the most. He's the most big awesome, brother dude, and he's such a cool guy. So I was so pleased for them both. Yeah. And it was one of them where it's not about buying a yacht, or it's not about this or that, or taking her. Like when she won the belt the first time, she went home, and I think she went to do she was doing some gardening. Yeah. She just wanted to be at home, and I can really relate to that. I kind of love that side of her. She's just she's like a military experiment, but on like a real ground level. Like someone's granddad was in the military, that now he's in like a little farm in the middle of nowhere, and he's just sort of brought this kid up to the point where she can hunt and kill and survive at 3.
Kind of like Khabib, really.
Exactly. But there'll be a film on it on Netflix somewhere, or somewhere where like some kid's just been absolutely like, if you remember Orange is the New Black, there was the little one in that had an octopus tattoo, and she was been in prison for say 30, 40 years, and her dad basically just trained her how to hunt for a deer without any weapons and all this shit. And I can just see Rose just getting that complete condensed training, and now she's just next level.
Trevor Whitman's doing good things, isn't he? What about so who do you want to see Usman fight next then?
Mate, I'm just buzzing for the fact that he's done. He did that thing where he was decisions, then became the champ, and is now putting an absolute fucking mark on it. Because the same thing people were talking about in the comments, like, I've just seen four Masvidal fights, 4 Masvidal fans like disappointed someone's lost. And I don't think you can be as impartial as if you were officially doing a job, because for me, if you've got a horse in the race, if there's someone, I've been following Masvidal forever. So his rise that he's had, and I mentioned it on the night that me and you were talking to Ross Edgley about it, who he got on the train after the Masvidal had left the UFC or wherever, or Strikeforce, and he kind of didn't know who he was. So for me, that Masvidal validation, it was just nice to know that he's getting that recognition for all the time, all the effort he's put in. So it wasn't even a case that I don't like Usman. It was that I really like fucking Masvidal. Yeah. But I can respect the fact that Usman is doing what he's doing, because he's gone from being this guy that's dominating, and he's almost done like, he did that Matt Hughes thing where it was suffocating. Yeah. Whereas the shot that he landed Masvidal with was pure filth. It was beautiful. And honestly, the amount of water that came off Masvidal's head, if you'd have weighed that,
it looked like it was snowing.
He'd have been a weight class lower. Yeah. Like, how the fuck did he keep that much? Imagine if that was like a Tony Montana fucking, if it was snowing. He was trying to get through the airport with all coke in his hair. Yeah. But it was, the amount of water that came off was fucking insane. And it wasn't even like I was disappointed that Masvidal lost, because it was more in awe of what he'd changed from the last time, just to set up. And Masvidal's come out afterwards and said, I'm a fan of that. I'm a big fan of that. Like he tricked me.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Colby thing. The problem is
what's going on with this. I'm not really interested in seeing the Colby fight again because I don't think it's going to be any different.
Exactly.
I think Usman's just better than him everywhere.
All day.
And it's not by a lot. It's no disrespect to Colby. He's a great fighter, and I think getting past Colby to get to Usman is going to be a challenge for everybody.
Yeah.
But I don't really, I genuinely really don't care who's the champions. Like as I'm watching them, I have a preference to like as a fan watching one fighter over another sometimes. But for the most part, I don't really care who holds the belt. No. What I do like is when the top of the division's open and the belt's under contention.
Yes.
Like for me, like as soon as it gets to the stage where like Demetrius Johnson's defended his belt 11 times, you're like, okay, like now the division's starting to struggle because there's no friction between anybody.
No.
Like DJ's sitting at the top, and anybody that starts to make any ground is immediately moved up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we were talking about with my title fight. Like I would have had to have had probably 2 more fights had the division been more competitive.
GSP had already had a word.
That's it. You just shut it down, and that's kind of like. Had Masvidal beaten Usman, all of a sudden the division's wide open because then you're like, okay, well now Masvidal's the champ. Now I think Colby would have a shot at Masvidal.
Yes.
So then now you've got a 3-way competitive.
But there's another chance of you. It's like when John Fitch and Rory McDonald, they couldn't get it done against the current opponent.
Exactly.
But they probably could have with someone else.
With everybody else. John Fitch was a killer.
Mate, that's the thing. You've got to be the best to beat the best at that time. Because if you look, it was like the Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard, that trilogy. It was it held everything up to a point where it was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was interesting and it was good, but you weren't like, what's next? And and Mark Goddard, he did his job and he did it right. And Colby, I agree with the stoppage, but. Maybe if he'd have taken a couple more off Usman and he would have been out, then it's not even a fucking question now.
Yeah.
But because Colby said he was trying to, obviously that's his character. He has to front that out. He can't go, good one, Mark, that was perfect. Thanks for not giving me more of a chance, because he was getting lit up.
Yeah.
But I think like the super necessary shots that Masvidal received, if we'd have got a couple more on Colby, maybe that would put that to bed, because at least now when Usman's being questioned, like at the press conference, Usman almost, he kind of let us see a bit of him, because he had a reference to refer to go, all right, so what happened last time? And Masvidal had a few comebacks because that's his nature. But I think when you see someone that's not quite comfortable to be themselves and they get confused with his character, like Usman came out dancing and it was like a weird, awkward dance. He's not like he normally does. And he just said at the time...
Trying to be relaxed when he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And... like, you've already got all the training, you've got all the skills, you know what you're doing. And when he can put on the performance that he did, unfortunately, fans are fickle. They're really, look at the whole Rose thing I've just said. Like, from 1 minute, you've got this kid that's unstoppable, to then now all our money's on Wei Lee. But it's really fickle. But this is the chance now, because he's got into this position where he's become a title holder. And what he did to Burns... no one's ever done to Burns. What he did to Masvidal, no one's ever done to Masvidal. So the next one has to be. It's just that progression. I'm just excited for.
We've got thingy next. They're talking about the Colby fight is the next fight. I
think so.
But like we've got Leon fighting Diaz, and honestly, like for as excited as people would be for that fight, that's a shutout for Leon every day of the week. Like I don't see how. Diaz finds his way into that fight. No. If he wasn't able to beat Masvidal, I think Leon is he's longer range, he's faster, he's just generally sharper.
Massively
all
underrated
round,
as well.
Massively. And because now he's elevated his grappling, because he's been able to keep people at such a distance, he's elevated his grappling to the point where people have not seen it.
No.
And like so now I think Leon's probably going to have a very good performance against Diaz.
Yeah.
And I'm getting into it. I'm going to do a breakdown on it. But it just like my instinct is like Diaz is good if you scrap with him.
Yeah.
Like if you stand, if you want to stand long range and scrap with Diaz, then...
McGregor's the perfect opponent. That
Exactly.
That's why I think
Like you could put
pushed
Diaz
that.
in there with Robbie Lawler.
Yes.
And that would work
Yes.
because they're both quite happy to just stand and trade and, roll shots off their shoulders.
Anyone
and
Nick's
stuff.
fought before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leon's going to take the easiest path of least resistance. He's going to chop his leg up. He's going to take him down. He's going to beat him up. Or he's going to keep him standing and beat him up. But Diaz is... I don't see Diaz being sharp enough to catch Leon with counters. He's going to have to really maul him and take a lot of shots.
So how does Leon Usman go the second time?
Well, at this point, I don't see it going any different. I think Usman does what he did before, but he does it over 5 rounds instead of 3. I think Usman would have an interesting challenge catching Leon, especially after that knockout with Masvidal. Because now Leon would have watched that and thought to himself, okay, I'm not underestimating this guy's striking.
Yeah.
And Leon would play it at really long range, but he'd also use his elbows close range as well. And that's something that I've not seen Usman really work with too much.
True.
See, I thought Masvidal, if he got closed down, would be able to use his elbows a bit more, but
didn't get to see it.
just didn't have chance.
So if Masvidal did get the Leon fight then, from what we've just seen,
Yeah.
what do you reckon would have happened? Because the problem is I was massively on that Masvidal train.
Yeah.
After I doubted him against Till,
I think Leon at this stage is better.
technically.
Yeah. I think like if I was going to be coached by one of them, I want to be coached by Masvidal just because of his experience, of his his time in high pressure situations and how he's had to adapt over the years. But as far as who's the best version of a martial artist right now, I think Leon's better than Masvidal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he would be more of a challenge for Usman. I just don't know as he'd be able to negate that pressure and pace. Because Leon is a kind of a slow starter.
Yeah.
And he does kind of coast at 80% if his opponent's not really challenging him. It's very rare he goes and gets it, and that's where he could let Usman in.
I think that's what excites me about Covington. Because
He always goes and gets it.
he always doesn't he? He the problem is he's got that Henry Cejudo bad guy book, and it's like if you'd have bought the good book and been a heel, you can be a prick all day, but you got the Cejudo book, and it's like it's just that wanky like post office version of RoboCop, and it's not the same. It's a bootleg. So he's almost Chael Sonnen-esque in that almost bad guy role, and I kind of like that. And I think the fact that Usman knows he can beat him, he's got a comeback for him. He's already beaten him once, so I think he can get under his skin. But I think the build up, I'd be more excited to see Usman against Covington, because let's be honest, a build up is a week's worth of footage. I whatever there is, I want to watch it. So if I've got a week of that. And even in the fight, the main event at the weekend, we had a few minutes. Was it first or second round? First,
What?
Usman Masvidal.
Second round, wasn't it?
Second
Yeah,
round,
second
right?
round.
So we got 6 or 7 minutes. So when I've got a week's worth of something to watch, I want to watch everything. Someone just clawing at each other, all about that. The fight.
You don't get that as much though now, especially like pandemic times. Like people don't seem to be around each other as much.
I suppose when you dig into it's their social, the tweets, all the shit that because it's coming now and it's getting closer. I think you'd get a bit more entertainment from Masvidal Covington, and then they've got to back it up. What I'm more interested in is the rankings of where it stands would be Leon versus Usman, because Covington's had his go. I want to see Leon have his go, and it's not because he's British or anything like that, but he's not had a go yet. He's justified that spot, and he's good. Like, as much as I'm not looking past Diaz, because obviously he's always got a chance, but I'd love to see that, because I don't know what Diaz would do against Usman, because he's just so fucking strong.
Yeah, he's not. Diaz is always at a disadvantage at welterweight, and he might weigh welterweight, but he's not built like a welterweight. No. He's just not, and his style leaves him very vulnerable for low kicks. Yeah, and I don't think he's at the stage in his career now where he's ever going to change that. No, he's not ever going to be able to adapt to avoid getting calf kicked to death.
Well, him not changing, and even if he gets a loss, if a Diaz ever gets a loss, if you look on Tapology, Sherdog, or any of it, above any of the Diaz losses, you've got a picture of their face like, it's not a loss. Yeah. Like they've never lost a fight, because they've come out and be like, oh yeah, well, Anderson Silva beat me because he's been a pussy. George beat me. It's like a girl. It's never taken on. Yeah. And because Nate's now made his money, Because obviously Nick, I always saw Nick as the bigger star because of the time I've been watching it. Nate was always the little brother that was just championing his brother. Like, even when Nate won the Ultimate Fighter, he's talking about how good his big brother is, which is a really nice thing. But now Nate's sort of overtaken him as far as status because he's had that McGregor payday. So there's no real urgency for him to win.
Well, that's it. Do you think he wants the belt? I've never got the impression that either Diaz brother wants the belt.
I think if they got it, it'd be like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
I mean, I don't think that. Like, of course they'd. I think Nick would have liked to have taken it off George. You know what I mean? Yeah, but he was more frustrated with his performance. Like, I bumped into him backstage as he left the octagon, I left the arena in a different way, and then we kind of crossed paths as we're walking around backstage, and his frustration. He was frustrated that he couldn't make any more of a fight out of it. You know what I mean? But like with Nate, I've never got the impression that he's really that bothered about the belt
ever. But
so the problem that you have then is that you've got like two guys, Nick and Nate, and this is now Nick's coming back. Like, the problem is they're going to probably match him up with someone that would either intermediately interject him into a title picture, or it's just going to boost somebody else that no one's particularly interested in at the moment,
exactly.
and that's not going to benefit anybody aside from, you know, potentially the person that gets the win over him.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is it's like plugging an N64 in after 10 years, and you plug it in and it's not quite what it was.
It's not quite what it was.
And I'm not saying that Nick Diaz is an N64.
I could still probably lose myself for like 5 hours in GoldenEye though.
You think that? I tried, and it's...
Could you not know?
Mate, the problem is, our TVs didn't look like this. They were a CRT, big curved screen thing, and my brother-in-law wanted to borrow it, and I pulled it out of the loft, and I was like, I'll just make sure it works. And honestly, it gives you motion sickness. It was awful.
Yeah.
Everything... It just didn't work.
They should re-release it on the PS5.
Exactly. I'd do that all day. But the problem is, Nick Diaz hasn't stopped getting older. And as much as he's got that in him, he's also got that bit between his teeth of like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, as much as you're desperate for him to be the very best he can be, he's kind of like, well, if I'm not, I'm fucking not. I'm still better than you.
And that's kind of the problem with, if I've got the Diaz brothers on a roster, I'm not looking at, right, okay, we need to get Nick in there with someone else who's 3 fights, 3 places away from a title shot or anything like that, because that's not the value of Nick would be wasted by just building somebody else up with him.
Yeah.
Because like as we're seeing with this Jake Paul thing, like, people want these like superstar celebrity matchups. Like, there are people you could match Nick up with, like Cowboy or
all day.
Someone like that. Even it came to mind last night, and I wouldn't normally interject his name into any matchups that would be exciting, but I think Damian Maia against Nick Diaz would be really interesting. Like, do it at a catch weight if they want, do it at 3 rounds or at 5 rounds if they want. I just don't. I'm interested in good fights between good fighters. I've completely changed direction recently.
What weight class is Chiesa at?
Chiesa's welterweight now, but that's the thing, is like Chiesa's on his way up to a title shot. So he needs like
might be a stumbling block.
Well, the problem is, like, he needs maybe like 2 wins before he gets a title shot. Chiesa.
Yeah.
You bring Nick Diaz in, and Nick Diaz gets a win over Chiesa, and immediately everyone's like, oh, well, he needs to fight Usman next.
Yeah.
And I don't know as he's either ready or eager to do that. Like, he might just want to come back and have a fight.
I think that the thing is the whole like, I don't know, freak show, circus show, the whole Jake Paul thing, there's a few sides to it. And one of the sides is the side that a businessman that holds all the secrets doesn't want you to know about, because...
is how much money can be made.
Precisely. So when someone says, I've made this much money, and the focus of the conversation is, they haven't made that much money, when they have made a fucking insane amount of money. It's like, when you used to go and trade a game in, you'd buy a game for 30 quid and you'd trade it in, they give you 12. That game's still worth 30, but because you had no other power or no other credit to then swap it to get this one, you are bound to their rules. And I think with something like, even Paige Van Zandt came out, and this isn't just hating on the UFC, because fighter pay as a whole in mixed martial arts.
Signed with bare knuckle as well.
But the money they're making, the obviously there's always different things in place. There's things they have to hit and meet and all the rest of it. But what Jake Paul is doing is showing that, oh, look, you can make bank. But because obviously the golden ticket is the UFC, it's kind of one of them that he doesn't want him to do that. But the thing that I see is that Jake Paul is still at the base level, he's a bloke that is practicing something. So fuck the YouTube, fuck all of that. Like, he's gone out, he's trained, he's had a go. Yeah, he's probably a gobshite, he's a bit of a dickhead, he's got this massive entourage around him which you don't fucking need, all the rest of it. But he's had a go, he's been punched in the face a bit and he's had a little try. So everyone has to start somewhere. So it could be like, I was talking to Ollie about it from Strikeforce days, you got like Herschel Walker. If you remember Herschel Walker coming in, was he a football player?
Yeah.
Came in and smashed this dude up. You're like, all right, I want to watch you again just to see what where the circus is going to go.
Brock Lesnar, I mean, is another good
Brock
example.
Lesnar was a champ. I mean, I fucking despised him. He was probably a nice dude. As a champ, I couldn't stand it. He wasn't.
A nice dude.
Well, I didn't ever like his
I've
reign.
never heard a story where everyone was the way. He was like, he was a really nice young man.
You know what's underrated about Brock Lesnar? He's a lovely gentleman.
Yeah, no.
So,
No.
because I mean, he broke my heart when he hurt Randy, because to me that was like,
Mate, I was live at that fight.
it's like me kicking a Jack Russell.
It was.
I wouldn't do it.
So weird, man. I
Honestly.
remember standing in the arena, and I was a few rows back then, and I was like, I remember seeing, I think Brock came in first.
Yeah, he would have, because Randy was champ.
Yeah, that's it. Brock came in first, and he's just like standing on the other side of the cage, like one of them old 1960s fridge freezers.
Yeah.
He was just massive.
That someone had drawn a shit dagger on.
Just a big old fucking
You know what I mean?
unit. He was massive.
Yeah.
And then Randy came in, and it was like, he looked like Mr. Herbert off Thingy
it.
running around. I'm like, this is not, how is this going to work out? And
But it was that weird coughing shot.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was just like,
Yeah.
But he was too big.
Too big.
But when you look at the freak shows, if you want to call it that.
Imagine him fighting in Ngannou, though. Brock Lesnar.
Oh, mate, I would love to see it. Like, you know when Overeem got all
He
of
wouldn't
him?
survive the first round under that kind of pressure like
Not-
he did
not
against
one
Shane
bit.
Carwin.
Not one bit. Oh, mate, and that was a fight. Wherever the hat is, you've got to...
It's in the other room.
I haven't stolen it yet, but I will. But when you look at James Toney's... What's his name from wrestling?
Oh, CM Punk.
CM Punk. They've had a go, but it was the payday.
Yeah. I'm
So,
surprised Steve-O never had a go.
I don't know, man. I
He
just think
seems
he
like
knows...
he seems like the kind of person that would jump in there with a Tony Ferguson. And
Yeah,
have
it could
crack.
take a bit of damage.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost like when Nick the Tooth... Do you remember when Nick the Tooth fought Joe Lozon?
Yes.
So Nick the Tooth was doing the Looking for a Fight, I think season 1. And he was a really strange character, cool dude, obviously Dana's friend. And basically he'd started jits, I think, at that point, to which he was giving Matt Serra a bit of lip. They had a bit of banter between them. I'm telling you this, you've probably both seen it and you know what I mean. But then he's actually now, he's stuck to jits and he's meddling in stuff.
Yeah.
But Dana had arranged for Nick the Tooth to fight Joe Lozon. Fuck me. He tapped him. I think every time he tapped him, Dana gave him $1,000 or
Right.
something. I think he walked away with like 22 grand.
Yeah,
So-
I
something
bet.
insane. But it's one of them that for every part of your CM Punk and James Toney, like you can't be Dana and looking at Jake Paul and going, it's a fucking freak show, bit
Yeah.
stupid. You made James Toney fight Randy Couture.
Yeah.
That was weird.
But they, like, sometimes I kind of felt like they did it with the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. Like, how many were in there in the house?
In was
First
it 14?
season.
Oh no, there's 8 and 8, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
8 and 8. So there were 16 of them in the house. There
Yeah.
were like 15 fighters and one bloke that fancies a chance.
Yes.
What was
there
his name?
Lyndon Sucade or
No.
Oh, the guy who
No,
was a
you're talking
swinger.
about Loden
Loden
Sincade. I'm talking about the guy that Chris Lieben pissed on his bed. Do you remember what I'm talking
Chris
about?
Lieben. Oh, so
Chris
we'll
Lieben
play
spritzed
Mallet's Mallet.
Oh, hang
so
on
you
a
got
minute.
Chris Lieben
Yeah.
and Lyndon Sucade. Then you got
Loden Sincade.
Loden Sincade. Sam,
Yeah.
who one was stealing all the hats. Sam.
I don't remember.
I shouldn't have gone.
No,
the first
do
name.
you remember
Bobby
the guy I'm
Southpaw.
talking about?
I'm trying to get there through all the names.
You won't remember him. He was the one guy in the house that just had not got any experience.
Did he have dark hair?
No, he was a blonde dude. You're looking it up, Jamie. It was the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, and I remember watching it and thinking to myself, it was like Thatcher or
Jason.
have a look. But like, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, oh, they've put him in the house as a comparison with everybody else.
So that's the tough guy everyone thinks they are.
Yeah.
These are mixed martial
exactly.
artists.
It's like sometimes I kind of feel like the James Toney thing. It was like, well, you know,
I like that.
fair
proving
play.
a
At least
point.
he had a go.
Yeah, but proving a point because even now it's like with DC getting involved. He'd murder anyone in the studio.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah.
At mixed martial arts, but it's the boxing.
He'd beat
thing.
Jake Paul at boxing. I don't see. I mean, Jake Paul might look good against someone like Ben Askren, who
But
just
Jake
has
Paul's
got-
he's doing the right thing, right?
He's not even going to get close to Daniel Cormier in boxing.
No
Cormier
one.
club him to death.
But he's only picking people that he knows he can.
He's just I mean, the thing is, I'm not saying he wouldn't.
There's a list of the fighters.
I'm not saying he wouldn't fight him.
Chris Lieben, Josh Koscheck, Nate,
Jason Thacker,
I said Jason, you said Thacker.
Bobby Southworth, Sam Hoger, Forrest
Hoger.
Griffin, Alex Schonauer, Stefan Bonner, Mike Swick, Loden Sinkade, Jason Thacker,
Chris Lieben.
and then Chris Lieben, Nate Quarry, Alex Karalexis, Chris Sanford, Koscheck, Sanchez, Kenny Florian, and Josh Rafferty. It's amazing how many of those progressed and did well.
Yeah.
And people probably won't remember Bobby Southworth, but
he was good, but he fell
had a lot
out.
of
Didn't he
fights.
fall out with someone? He had an issue because he was
the one that cut 20 pounds in a day. Gee, he's 51 now.
Yeah, he kicked, but I can remember.
Middle name's Masai.
Of course it is.
What a fucking.
He changed that himself.
Bobby Masai Southworth.
It was Gordon before.
That's a good name. Yeah, he had 17 fights. I remember him being around. He was in Pride.
Yeah.
I remember another fighter you probably won't remember. He was a boxer as well, Matt Skelton.
I know the name because he's from.
He was a British boxer.
Yeah.
He fought in Pride 1 and got taken down and submitted. And when he got up, he said, "I didn't realise that you could do that."
Imagine the whole training camp just like,
Yeah.
you got your rounds in. Yeah, I'm fucking all over this shit, bro.
Yeah,
Someone just takes
you wrestling? Oh yeah, it's good, it's good.
Someone
And
puts him in a sleeping bag.
Yeah,
What's
got
happening?
ankle locked. He had no idea what was going on.
And the pain.
Oh,
Imagine
yeah.
when you've never experienced that.
Yeah, because then you got that shock pain as well,
Yeah.
and your immediate thought is that's going to snap in a minute.
Yeah, I've got to punch you in the face. But it's like, if you look at season 10 of The Ultimate Fighter, there was Brennan Schaub, Big Baby, Kimbo, and another NFL. Who was it? There was Big Baby, Brennan Schaub, Kimbo, and so on. But there was a load of NFL guys that came into season 10. They were all... Can you remember? Because it was Roy Nelson was in that season.
Of course he was.
That's the one he won.
Yeah.
Because he knocked out Schaub when he was climbing the rope.
There's a guy called Daryl Schoonover.
NFL.
I don't know.
But they kind of started doing that, bringing other...
Yeah.
Like, that obviously, they
It
did
was
the
like
UK,
it
US
was the
for 9.
comparison, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like, like comparing, like take an athlete from another sport and an interest. I don't mind it. I mean, I think everybody that plays in team sports, they either like the fact that it's a team sport or they wish they were doing something where the attention and pressure was all on their shoulders.
Yes.
I never liked team sports because it was always, I was having to rely on other people to, to
I was
do
more
their part.
fucked off if someone did something stupid.
Yeah. I think
know what I
a
mean?
lot of football players would have football players would have been playing football and watching The Ultimate Fighter on TV and thinking to themselves, that looks like a lot of fun because I can train and it's just me and it's just as dangerous and violent as an NFL game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Pretty
when,
much.
if you're ever playing football and you turn to your mate and look at me and like, I'm just not feeling it today, you're like, well, try.
Yeah.
You fucking clown.
that's not
Because
good.
I am. And you're ruining my day. I rode bikes. I had motorbikes. So I used to ride trials. So basically that was, you were on your own. And the minute you went through the first flags, if you put your feet down, you got like points deducted. If you drop your bike, you're completely disqualified. But that was all on you. And the training was quite intense, or like the practicing was because you had to make sure that you could maintain this just for yourself, because obviously it's physically exhausting, all the rest of it. But the payoff was way more.
How long's a race then? How long are you on the bike for?
So with motocross, that's a race where you go round over the jumps and all that shit. Trials, if you Google Dougie Lampkin, just motorbike trials. So basically you would go up and there would be different coloured flags. So if it's a beginner day, you follow the white flags, and then it's a wider circle, not big rocks. It's quite, basically, the whole thing is you can't put your feet down. If you put your feet down once, you get a 1. If you put it down twice, you get a 2. If you put it down 3, you get a 3. You can put your feet down 100 times, and after you've got that, and you'll get a 3. If you stop the bike or drop it, you get a 5. So basically, it's the lowest score, but like it's called a dab. So if you put your foot down, you've dabbed. So the different coloured flags, you'd have beginner, intermediate, clubman, and expert. So like there'd be a sheer rock face like that, the size of that wall there, and the flags at the bottom up to the top. There'd be 2 at the top, which were black or yellow for expert. And you'd see some kid at like 16 just stood at the bottom, it's screaming, balancing the bike, and then it just launches and it's just on the top. And you're like, how the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah.
So
I saw a Land Rover or a Range Rover go up a pretty much a mud wall the other day on a video on Instagram. Like, gee.
But you'd have like 20 sections a day.
I think it'd just tip over backwards.
Honestly, mate, the amount of stuff I've done in momentum and look back, if my kids said they were going to do what I did, they'd be fritzled.
Although, to be honest, I remember the guys. You remember the guys on the bikes with the really flattened tires.
That's trials.
And they'd be like jumping from one thing to the next.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what I did.
I remember watching that, thinking to myself, this don't even make sense. Then you're watching a guy doing it on a BMX.
Yeah,
and that makes even less sense. I'm like, where's the power coming from?
Mate,
like,
that's what I did.
Yeah.
And so we'd do that, but you get there and there was this kid called Suicide Joe. And
it's a good name for a sport like that.
Well, there was two experts that I used to know really well. One was Joe, and he came from a farm where they basically...
they built their own
They built their own bike.
That's the kind of thing with it. It's like Ninja Warrior. You've got to kind of do that kind of thing if you're going to be really good at that kind of shit. Like,
so they came from no money,
right?
But he was insanely good. Like, he had the petrol tank off a gas, the rear mudguard was off a beater. It was the weirdest contraption. Then there was another family that were almost sponsored. Like, the parents were still together. They had Kellogg's Family Teeth. They had an all-in-one suit. And he wasn't as good as Joe. And you could tell that it just boiled his piss, because you'd see Joe just come up and like, all right, lads, dickheads, and fuck off up this wall. Whereas then you see the other guy with his dad going, right, now just take your breath. Remember what they said. Breathing, just nice and steady. And he's just, okay, Dad, into second, maybe 2,000 revs. And he'd fail.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe's he'd come back and do it again and be like, what are you doing, dickhead? Come on. And it's that sort of thing where, like, as much as it's not a team sport, you vibe off your little crew, if that makes sense. So if someone gets through it, then you know you can. So, like, you look back and they're like, I've just done it this way, try it. But if you're on your own, it's kind of scary, because it fucking hurt when you crash.
I was never any good at anything outside of my physical self. Nothing, no ball sports. I was never any good at football. I played rugby. I was no good at that. I had to go at tennis. I was shit at that. Skateboards, I could never skateboard.
I can't skateboard.
No BMXing, no mountain biking. Tried all of it. Can't do any of it.
Yeah.
Even like the Diablo thing when they were popular at school.
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
I had one of them. On the beach.
Of course.
You know when you've hit some woman in the face like that? Don't think it's all right because it's not.
But like I was never any good at any of that. But if it was me and I could either fight or grapple or whatever, even if it was just like climbing or whatever, I'd be fine with that. But as soon as I had a thing that I had to do something with, like as a skateboard, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I couldn't stick to it. So I had a BMX, because when I was trying, I was at my dad's. So at the weekend, we'd trial or we'd practice. So I was on like a, 260 gas, which when I was 13, I was smaller than Mystery, weighed less, and I had a more powerful bike than I could have legally on the road when I was 17. And it was all about balance and all the rest of it. So I got good at that, and it got me quite competitive with stuff. But it then just made me expect I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And it's like now, even with Stace, she doesn't like doing anything with me because she's like, oh, you watch, your dad's just going to win this. And because I think you have to have ultimate confidence in yourself.
Like the dude off fucking the Fast Show.
Yeah.
Do you remember him? What was he called?
And
everything, he was just too competitive with his kids. He just completely smashed them at everything.
Run, girls.
Like the cricket one, and he just keep blasting the ball. Yeah.
That's it.
Underhand, Toby. Underhand. Whack.
But that's it. I can't, like, the kids, when we go to other people's or family comes around or something, and they're like, just let Jacob win this one. I'm like, you are talking to the wrong fucking adult, my friend. Let someone win what? Go, fuck it, I'm going to try twice as hard. And you know, while I'm eating their tears, this is a lesson. This is a lesson. If I'm licking tears off your face, try harder, motherfucker. Because if you beat me, then you
There's
beat me.
your motivation, right?
But I just don't get that. Like, even with the kids now, I mean, I've got a video. I will be able to show you. I can't put it anywhere else because Moo would murder me. But she's had a meltdown because we played Frustration. And Frustration is the one
Which
where...
is the right name for a
completely.
game like that.
And it's got the dice in the middle that you press and it pops over, right? You can only move one of your 4 characters out once you get a 6, which is fine. But if another character lands on you, then it sends you back to the thing you have to get another 6. So she's there, 3 of her people out, going around the board, almost dancing. What are you going to do now, Dad? I was like, it's a long game, motherfucker. So off she goes, keeps going around. All of a sudden, her base is next to mine, and I'm only getting 1s and 2s. But when I'm getting my 1s and 2s, I'm getting closer to her little people, sent them all back. And we filmed the whole thing, which is probably illegal, but she lost her fucking mind. But I'm still not going to let her win. Because when you beat me,
it'd be worth something.
It's an achievement.
Yeah,
but you know,
sense.
if I whisper on your 18th, go, you've never actually beat me ever in your life. I've just let you have it. That's wank. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm too competitive. I can't. My mate doesn't invite me to go karting anymore. I just don't get invited to do anything because I want to win.
You just have to stick to racing toilets around the loops on a Friday night.
I can do that, yeah, but that's digital. And I still get a lot of grief from people. If I win, it's still like, yeah, it was lucky, or there's a reason why you shouldn't have won.
Yeah, I can't do the online gaming thing. I just can't be doing it. Like, that's my time to not think about people, you know?
Well, that's
like, I'm only thinking about the people that I'm slicing in half with a sword.
But that makes
or
it more.
Smashing into the side of the racetrack. That is a good game, Wreckfest. I'm going to get into that in a bit.
If you've had a few beers, and you might have had a little smoke, and you just really chill with your mates. Obviously, and this is maybe just British, I don't know, I've seen loads of people do it, but it's always about banter. You don't greet each other with like, good day, how are you? It's like, all right, shitbag, or whatever. You basically rag on each other the whole time. So if we're playing Call of Duty, and my mate shoots me from, I don't know, 100 yards away, it's kind of achievement, but I will then go and stab him, and I'll whisper into the mic,
like legitimately, like, you know what I mean? Like, goes around to his house.
Yeah. And I'll just slowly stab him to death. But when you stab him, then it's more of a needle because you go, oh yeah, you shot me.
You get banned from Twitter for that, you know. Did you? That's what Buggerbeard got
stabbing him.
for.
What for?
He was having an argument with someone on Twitter, going back and forth about some fantasy game that they play, and Buggerbeard like said to the guy that he'll fucking stab him. And that's why he got banned from Twitter.
Mine's a digital stab. Mine's
well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's what he actually meant. He was talking about a digital stab. But apparently that's still not allowed on Twitter. So you've got to be careful with that kind of stuff.
Well, I've got to check my feed because there is some random ropey shit that I'm following that is way worse than someone talking about digitally stabbing someone.
I know, that's it.
But
yeah, he was very upset about it.
See that? So I only play with people I know. There's like 4 or 5 of us, and they're either family or close friends.
That'd be worse because then it spills over into the real world.
Oh no, because it's the best because you can hold it over them. So for the rest of the week, you're like,
see, that's why.
Of course,
because it spills it. Because you can hold it over for the rest of the week.
Remember that time you were shit?
See, that's why Wad won't come over while you're here at the moment because you keep beating him at Wreckfest. Clearly,
mate, he hasn't played for a while, and I think it's because
you beat him.
Yeah, he got.
He's like, no, I've got accounts to do.
He says. Oh, what game are you playing? And he said, we're playing COD. And he made his instant excuses. I'm no good. I said, that's fine. Don't even worry about it. We're just having a laugh. If you can kill one of us once the whole evening, it's an achievement. Next week, try and do it twice. No. I'm not. And then all of a sudden he's on. Then he got really fucking good. Like really good. And he was coming the top. But you could tell he was panicking because he was at the top that he was having to maintain that. So he's ringing me the week. He's like, yeah, I'm just in the middle of a fight.
Practicing. He was practicing. Yeah. And see, he's very competitive as well. That's the problem.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
That's probably
if
why he wasn't doing it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was keeping his eldest up, who's like 10, just feeding him Red Bull.
Yeah,
like, beat the lads,
training him up.
Yeah. I'm doing really bad this game, boys, because he's asleep.
We'll have to get something connected to this. Given the fact that this keeps strobing and switching off, we'll have to get an N64 plugged in, and I won't turn it on until the camera's rolling.
Yeah.
Then we're like, oh, it's actually really not that good.
Unless we've got one of these big deep CRT, like a 21 inch.
Yeah.
When 4 of you just sit around
all
that,
our hair standing on end.
How the fuck did 4 of you sit round and not scream perv?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know when you sat there? All right, mate. Yeah. How do you know I'm in there? No reason.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Didn't you?
No way.
That caused more fights than online threatening to
That was
stab
a game
people.
changer when people were on different screens. I was like, oh, okay, this is...
Yeah, it was a big move, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I swapped a Game Gear to get my N64.
Did you? Yeah. I'll get mine out next time.
Oh, have you got one?
Yeah.
All right, about to say I can bring it.
No, I've got one. I'll get it out. We'll get it plugged in for next time.
Right. I've got to tell you a couple of things.
Oh, go on.
I know you're about to say you're going to shoot. I made notes.
Yeah.
I've had 2 weeks to make notes and it's fucking spun me out, so I've got to tell you a couple of them. I know we've spoken a lot of times about people saying the wrong words. Mm-hmm. So I'm not bringing the no turn unstoned. But on the UFC there was, I can't remember the guy's name, but he said he's throwing reckless abandon.
Oh, it's Dominic Cruz says it all the time. No, he says reckless abandonment.
Right, but this was the other guy. Was it Brendan Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
He said he's throwing reckless abandon.
Oh, not with.
It's with, isn't it?
Yes, it's
I'm only
with.
wanting to clear this up because
Yeah.
you're my adult, so you'll know that that's right.
No, see, they're both getting it wrong because Dominic Cruz says reckless abandonment,
which is wrong.
which is wrong. But it's with reckless.
You have
abandon.
to have. You're doing it with reckless abandon,
Yes.
aren't you? Because you just fuck it.
Yes.
Okay. Because it reminded me of someone that used to say lapsy daisy,
Oh yeah, no.
and to me. I can't say, do you want a game of foo-fa-foo-fa-fa-fa? And you know that I mean football, because that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Use the right word.
Asterix.
An obelix. Okay.
I was watching Stephen Colbert the other day, and he was interviewing George Bush, the second one, the one that's still about. And he was actually laughing at himself for saying nuclear wrong, because he says
Really?
nuclear.
Nuclear, I do.
Yeah. A lot of people do. It's weird. Go
Yeah.
on.
We were talking earlier about obviously retro stuff, and I've realised that our TikTok back in the day, see if this relates to you, our TikTok was theme tunes and adverts.
Oh yeah.
So I know people are now doing the dances to go with it and all
the
the stupid
chart
shit.
songs, like people used to get chart song dancers in magazines and then follow along to the dance in the magazines.
But you'll remember the crisp and dry song or
course.
the
Shake
bird's eye potato waffles.
Shake and vac.
Shake
Remember
and
that
vac. Put the freshness back. Do the
back.
shake and vac. Put the freshness back. I know the guy who was in there.
I remember the Betamax one. Re-record, not
Fade Away with the skeleton.
And he was wicked, wasn't he?
Wasn't he?
Mr. Soft. Mr. Soft.
How come everything around
Soft
you?
mints.
There you go. And he hits the
They're
post
still on
box.
there.
But that's the thing. So that
They're
was our
still on
TikTok.
YouTube. Yeah.
Like Fresh Prince. So even songs like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Grange Hill, I don't know, Biker Girl, but that was... Nothing changes, does it?
No.
So even with the shit toys
It
you're
just
talking
upgrades.
about... Yeah.
It becomes more digital.
Yeah, and I think I'll never forget my dad looking... I had Mask Crusaders, the toy.
Oh, they were amazing.
And they were brilliant, right? So it was a car that turned into a plane or whatever. But he was fuming the whole time because he'd bought it because obviously it was for his son, but you could see he resented the fact that he'd paid 20 quid at the time, which is now, I don't know, 600 quid for a car that did this thing. And to me, it was the world, but to him, it was like, fucking shit. Not like I was little. I had a hoop and a stick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't even my hoop.
Yeah.
But I don't think things change that far.
No, they don't. No.
But we've got, our version was just remembering shit adverts. And
It was.
so,
Mate, we're going to have to wrap it, Annie.
yeah, I'm going to... yeah. I've got far too many bits. Shall I tell Jamie that Kanye's raised 1 million for DMX? Have you seen that? Yeah. That's cool.
1 million.
1 million, yeah. 1 million. He's made a new T-shirt and he's giving it to the family of DMX, which is amazing.
That's cool.
Right, Dan's gone for a wee-wee. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Full Reptile Radio.
I'll leave it rolling.
We can have a big gap. Me and you just sit here.
Yeah.
The other, honestly, mate, I've got to tell you about Libby in the van.
What were you just talking about a second ago? Thinking about.
Advert.
No, it's before that.
Before the advert. GoldenEye, N64. Come on, we're not this thick. Was it a fighter?
Oh yeah, it was ages ago. To be fair,
What was it?
when you were talking about who was meant to face next,
Oh, go on then.
Hamza.
Hamzat.
I know obviously he's not ranked like nowhere near, or is even.
Yeah, but sometimes it's that like
I like
unknown.
Yeah,
I like that. That's why I was desperate to see Johnny Walker fight John Jones, and not because Johnny Walker's a million times better than John Jones. I didn't think that. He was just so unleashed. He was so. He would just throw everything out there and have a go, and there was a chance that he could have won. Do you know what I mean?
But then I think that about Cyril Gam.
Yes. If he turns it on, a bit like when GSP got stopped by Matt Serra, no one expected that, but he just threw a Hail Mary. I'm not saying he didn't train, but he fucking... Slim was asking who you want to see Masvidal, Usman fight, and he said Hamzat.
Hamzat, yeah.
Hamzat?
Yeah.
I know he's like obviously way off.
I'm concerned how he's going to come back after this COVID thing, though. You know what I mean? That's why Sage pulled out of that fight with Aoki, because
Like
of
on
lingering
long-term.
COVID.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Long COVID apparently.
Yeah.
Long
Is that
COVID.
right? Long COVID.
What did you have? Short COVID?
Don't know, I might start it.
Mucky COVID?
Yeah, who knows? Hey, you've had loads of tests now, haven't you?
Yeah.
He's had loads of COVID as well.
He had loads of
He's had all the
COVID tests.
In
versions.
terms of like the lasting symptoms, like my taste has been a bit off since.
Really, yeah.
Oh, really?
Taste and smell.
I know this is still recording. If we cut it, it don't matter. But did you see after the last time we spoke, and I said that if you have no sense of smell, you have no taste, right? Which my uncle's got no sense of smell and didn't realise you don't have taste. I was told this by someone who's very clever, so I always took it that it's true. So once I said that, my uncle was adamant. No, I can taste everything, but it's the memories that he has of tasting. And there's a guy in the comments last time, thank you very much, whoever you were. He basically said he lost his sense of taste at, say, 9 or 10, but didn't realise because he had the memories of salt and vinegar crisps and bacon or whatever.
So he'd fill the gaps in himself.
But and he's done that. But what he has done is started having like the vape tobacco, the flavoured vape. He can't taste any difference.
Because he didn't know what it tastes.
Right. So
Right.
there must be something in it.
Interesting.
So the problem is because it's like me being colourblind. The fact that I'm blue-green colourblind, I know that's green. Doesn't mean I
My
see it as
granddad
your
always
green.
used to use that as excuses when we were playing snooker.
Oh, when he got the wrong ball.
Always. He was always putting the green in instead of the brown or whatever.
Can't it?
Always.
I didn't know.
And then like hang on a minute, you can't get the black mixed up. And he's like, yeah, you play all kinds of tricks like that.
No, I'm only 40. I'm not old enough to do granddad tricks.
Not yet. You're almost there though.
I'm not far off. I've got the fucking greys.
Mate, honestly, I had a new grey come through my moustache the other day. Yeah.
Has anyone ever pulled one out when you're going down the M1? That's fun. Stacey's done my nose before.
No.
You're literally driving and she's going, 1 minute. Bink!
My reaction would immediately be a backhand.
Mate,
I wouldn't even think about it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I had tears pissing down my face.
Yeah.
And she's like, sorry, and I'm like, I'm doing 90?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'd become quite attached to her.
Yeah. It's like on bottom where he says, if I pull down, I expect the butler to come in. Honestly, it's thick like rope.
Yeah, no, we don't need any of that.
Horrible.
Right.
I've already signed off, but
have you? Yeah,
you do it because I didn't know if you were going to be coming back.
Yeah.
Or you just had enough of the ramblings of shit. Me talking about TikTok.
We'll sign off again and we'll figure it out. Thanks for tuning in. What toys are we bringing next time?
I don't know. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Should we talk about this next time?
Tazos, yeah. Save that for next time. Is
it the full set or is it just a binder?
I reckon I've got some Pogs and Tazos somewhere. I'm gonna dig them out.
Exact same book.
Is it full?
Yeah, it's full.
Are they all grade A?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll bring it around.
Have you got the membership card attached inside?
I have.
You best fucking have now.
Bring it next
You
time.
gotta back this shit up, dude.
Bring it next time.
You know, this is signed as well. So, like, if you try and steal my card, not signed by anyone like George Lucas, just by me.
So
15-year-old me.
He did say that like it'd been signed by someone. That would increase the value of it.
I've got a shitload of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I have in the loft.
We'll have to bring your Tazo book next time, and we'll go through them. Cool.
Okay, well,
All
sign
right.
off for the third time. Take it easy.
Nice one.
Cheers, brother.
Catch you next time.